Hello, welcome back. Another live stream where we design a class or redesign a class or remaster a class, fix a class, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. We're going to be dealing with the wizard today for Dungeons and Dragons 5e. Now, one of the things you'll notice is this is going to be a long live stream. These are always long live streams. They don't take me a short amount of time. I'll be taking a break every hour. Okay, as always, to make sure that I actually do not wind up getting into trouble or I wind up passing out, not having enough water, things like that. Okay, all right, we're going to get straight into this because that's why you're here in the first place. And Fred Huber, I'm sorry you are going to miss this live stream, but then considering you've been to just about every single live stream for the past couple of months, I think it's all right. I think it'll be fine. Anyway, let's get started. Hi, welcome to How to RPG. My name is Fred Wheeler and today I want to talk about role-playing games. Actually, today's more about Dungeons and Dragons. For those of you who know anything about Dungeons and Dragons 5e and the Wizard class, I have been remastering, fixing the Wizard, making it more suitable for the game that I want to play. And so I'm going to go over my design goals for today. I will be taking a break every hour to ensure that I wind up doing what I need to do. It's a toilet break basically. Okay, so I'm going to go over my design goals so it's very clear. Then I'm going to show you everything that we did last time, so all the changes that I've already made, and then I will go start working through all the stuff that we haven't completed. And fortunately there is hopefully not too much to deal with regard to the wizard. And I want you to be part of that conversation, so that's certainly going to be an aspect of today. So by all means give your feedback, but I will warn you now, I'm designing this not necessarily for you. I'm certainly designing it for me, and if you see ideas that you like and you want to do some redesigning yourself, then I encourage you to do so. Okay, so let's go straight into the topic and start looking what we have here. So design goals, I've stated these before, but I'm designing the class that I want, that I like, and I'm designing for my home group what they want to play. So they have told me what they want, and I am trying to build it for that, and I'm also trying to build it for myself. Okay, if the wizard was what we wanted, we would already be playing a version that Wizards of the Coast has put out, a third publisher was putting out, Paizo, but they've never really done what we wanted, so I'm doing my own thing. Okay. Ensure the class has a wide spread of features that cover all the pillars of play: exploration, social interaction, combat, world building, and that X factor. Spread out all the features across the levels as best as... I don't want to have all the features clumped at the very beginning or at the very end or in the middle. I want them spread out nicely. Make the level 10 features and beyond not suck. So actually, I want to encourage people to take the wizard all the way through rather than trying to multi-class. I don't really want these classes to be things that you would multi-class ultimately, because I'm going to give you a lot stronger and more impressive stuff at higher levels. The higher we go, the better the stuff gets. That's really my approach. So level 10 features need to have some fluff and story quest requirements. This is a request from my home group, so I'm going to keep doing that. So you'll find that some of these things have some quest giving required by the dungeon master to get a feature, or something has to be completed to get that feature. Anyway, I'm going to ignore most of what Wizards of the Coast has been doing, Paizo, Kobold Press. I might look at their Unearthed Arcana to see if they've done anything that sort of stands out to me, but so far I haven't seen anything at this present time that I can think of that I would be impressed by. I'm going to eliminate the desire to multi-class. Multi-classing is kind of like pissing on another class. Basically, you're taking somebody else's toys and deciding they're also yours and turning your class and your character really into a mutant. And I'm not really into snowflake characters myself. I know some people like the multi-classing idea. My home group, I make it quite clear, my home group love multi-classing. They multi-class all the time. They're all power gamers, so they do this a lot. So to actually build a class where they don't want to multi-class, that is a big task. Anyway, removing class features that include bonus actions. I think bonus actions are a mistake in 5e, and getting rid of the short rest recharge mechanic. I do not like the short rest recharge mechanic. I'm fine with recharging on a long rest or something else, but a short rest just seems too difficult to sort of deal with. It's very hard to manage something in terms of a resource if you can just recharge after resting for an hour. So I want to get rid of that. Ensure the Game Master has the necessary tools to adjudicate the higher level features, because they're going to be more complicated and probably in many respects more narrative and also more game changing in many respects too. Removing the subclass system and putting in a different system. I've already done that. This system that I put in place, you could overlay subclasses from a different, from a subclass. You could overlay features from a subclass, but the progression that I've included has more steps, and therefore it might not fit perfectly. You won't be able to just pigeonhole it in very easily because there are more steps. So in other words, you get more things right across the levels compared to the subclass system for 5e. So that's what I'm trying to do today. Okay, that's my approach. I'm going to get right into covering what we did last time. I'm going to do that very, very briefly and quickly because I have limited time today. Although I have sort of penciled away about 4 hours. I would normally allow for 5 hours, but I can't today. So let's go straight into the document and show you what we've done so far. And then we're going to go into all the things that need to be finished. And hopefully, hopefully that can be done in a timely manner. Why is that not working? Come on, you little sucker. Give me that. Give it to me. Give it. Yeah, there you go. All right, here it is. This is the document. Here's my goals. Now, this is the Wizard remastered, hopefully as of the 8th of December. I don't know that this is necessarily true. This will be the first draft. Let's get real, okay? It's not a complete draft. It's just the first draft. At some point, I have to put in some titles for the Wizard, which will probably mean I have to go back and have a look at the Magic user for HowtoDandD to get that, or possibly even the Rules Cyclopedia might have it as well. I can't remember. So put some titles on at some point. We have a few tables already put in place. You'll notice that 9th level, 11th level, and 13th level, and also 15th level has nothing actually stated there as a special ability. One of the reasons why that is because I don't know that we need to give the Wizard a special class feature every single level. They already get quite a bit as it is. I've certainly given them more features as a class than the standard Wizard for 5e. So they're getting more things, but most of it's not combat related. Anyway, moving on. This is the table progression. I have made some slight adjustments. Now this is the spells that you learn at your level. This is not spell slots. This doesn't mean that when at first level you get one spell slot. So in other words, one spell you can cast at level 1 and 3 cantrips. No. Yes, you get 3 cantrips, but you get a spell, one spell that you learn, and you can keep casting it provided you don't fail that spell casting check. Okay, and I'll explain how that works today. And so that progression there is learned spells, the spells you know, the spells that are in your spell book. We do not use preparing spells, spell slots, couldn't care less about any of that sort of stuff, getting rid of that completely. Next, we already did the hit dice, so I didn't change the hit dice on the Wizard. I think it's perfectly fine. I didn't think I needed to drop it down to a D4, so I haven't done that. Proficiencies, no armor proficiency for the Wizard, and we've included a few extra weapons like the blowgun, I believe the net, the staff, because we had the quarterstaff but not the staff, included the sling, whip. No tool proficiencies. I'm not going to give them a tool proficiency. I don't think that's going to be necessary. We've gone with keeping the saving throws the same. The skills, there's one skill you get. You don't choose it, you just get it. Arcana. You should know about music. Should know about magic, should I say, not music. That's a bard. So yeah, so you get one standard skill and then you choose 3 others. The reason it's 3 and not 2 ultimately, or 1, get 1 Arcana, select 1, it's 1. The reason for that is because I'm removing skills as proficiencies from backgrounds for what I plan to do. I think it's probably better to give people more skills rather than less skills. That's just my view. Anyway. Equipment. So their equipment, I decided that one weapon the Wizard is proficient with. So you don't have to be narrowed down to a dagger or something else. Just pick one weapon that you're proficient in. That's the weapon you have. You can have a component pouch or an arcane focus. You have a spell book, of course, and then you have a wizard pack, which I've built specifically for the wizard. So things like backpack, bedroll, book of lore, bottle of ink, caltrops, ink pen, sheets of parchment, a bag of sand, some candles, chalk, 2 blocks of incense, a small knife, a healer's kit, because everybody needs one, a mess kit, a scroll case, sealing wax, signal whistle. These are all quite light. Signet ring, soap, pouch, steel mirror, tinderbox, couple of torches, some rations, some empty vials, 2 of those. I might go here, just change that to there. 2 vials, and I'll do that there. Okay, a water skin, some rope, and some coins. Okay, that's what we're dealing with in terms of their pack. So there should be no need to go and worry about what will I buy in terms of gear. It's mostly all there now. Okay, spell casting system itself, I haven't actually narrowed that down, but I will be doing that. That'll be what my task is today, is to make sure all this section is done. So we'll get back to that. And then I have started, now I haven't finished, and I should probably highlight this. This is the spell casting failure table that I've decided to create for the wizard. So when you cast a spell, things can happen. Now you'll probably notice if you've played ShadowDark that some of this is very familiar. I'm not going to use this exactly the same. I'm probably going to adjust it. I think the concept is great, but anyway, we'll get back to that. Ritual casting, I'll leave that exactly the same. Spell casting focus, I'm going to leave that the same. High level spells, we'll have a discussion about that. I'm going to sort of change that up a little bit. I need to make some adjustments here. Your spell book, I'm going to have to do some rewriting of this as well. So we'll get back to that. What we have here though, we have arcane knowledge. So beginning at 2nd level, you have excellent memory and have studied for years everything to do with magic. Spells, okay, spell scrolls, magic items, magical traditions, spell books, mystic lore, the universe, the multiverse, the planes of existence and monsters. So anytime you're required to recall information that is medium or less in difficulty, you aren't required to make an arcana or intelligence check. So that means a DC 5, 10, and 15, you just no need to. You're going to be succeeding on that, okay? But at level 13, you'll be able to recall even better information, and that will be around hard level. So hard would be a DC 20. Sometimes anything below DC 20 and a DC 20, but that's not till level 13. I've done my maths. I think that works out. On average, it should be a 50-50 chance based on your numbers. And so rather than going 50-50 chance with a D20, we're just going to say, no, you're good enough, you shouldn't have to roll. Okay, so that's a feature, and I'm making that level 2. Next, Arcane Tradition. This is what I'm replacing the subclasses with. Okay, so the progression is level 3, 6, 10, 14, 18. So you'll notice there's more progressions here. In fact, there should be another one. I should actually probably add in level 16, because mechanically that's how it's been working anyway. In terms of what I've been doing, but we'll see. I might just have to make that adjustment later on. Anyway, you're going to join a mage guild at level 3, and you also get additional features at level 18 as part of being a mage guild. So some of the things that you get, that you are granted or have access to, is studying in a workshop space, or having a workshop to conduct research, depending on the type of guild or society. A lot of these things are very similar. Getting access to all the spell components you require to cast a spell, you can get them from your guild. Okay, you can purchase them. So there's no sort of, where do I go to buy this? Employment. So maybe that's lecturing, teaching in the guild schools, libraries and archives where you can get information to research, a place to stay, food, board, rent, that sort of stuff. Basically allies, potentially magical allies that you can that can assist you, and this is all narrative and also requiring Dungeon Master discretion. Dungeon Master can say, it's not going to work in this situation based on my world. Right? There need to be some room for that. Access to specialized tools and equipment from your guild and the society, and then at level 8 you're going to get a few more things as part of your guild, and that is a way to buy spell books, spell scrolls, and potions at normal prices from the guild. So if you, instead of saying, where's the magic shop, and the game master saying there is no magic shop, Well, yeah, but the Mage Guild that you've joined, they'll have stuff like that. Contacts with political, religious, criminal, and powerful individuals. You can access them, hopefully. Access to restricted section of the Mage Guild library and archives. Permission to use the guild's teleportation circles, so you can teleport and fast travel where you need to. And then a land mount, which is pretty basics. Nothing fancy or anything like that. Just a riding horse, camel, donkey, pony, or mule. Pick one. Or maybe the Game Master will pick one. Who knows? Anyway, moving down, there are some requirements as being part of a guild. You need to make sure you look after your apprentice and do a few tasks for that guild. Ability score improvements and the feat option stuff, I never changed any of that. I've left it exactly the same. Arcane recovery looks very different. So you only get this at level 5 and basically allows you to regain a lost spell. So once per day you can spend 30 minutes to study your spell book to recover a lost spell if you lose a spell when you're trying to cast it. So when you're casting a spell in this version of the wizard, there's a chance you could lose access to it. So you can get one back. Wizard followers, so we're going to give the wizard some followers. So we're going to give them an apprentice at level 6 that can do sort of some very mundane basic stuff for you. And then at level 10 we're going to give them some conjured unseen servants, and they don't wear out, they don't get destroyed, but they're basically just carrying the porters, your porters. Okay, they do your cleaning, and you're going to roll a d10 to figure out how many you get. So yeah, they can lift a maximum of 25 pounds. At level 15, you're going to get access to some mages. So a d6 worth of mages that will be underneath you. But that's not till level 15, so you've got to wait a while. And don't get them killed because you can't replace them. Arcane specialization at level 7. You can choose one of the 8 schools of magic that you specialize in, which basically means when you cast a spell that is part of that school of magic, you get a +1 bonus to your spell attack roll, your saving throw, your spell saving throws, and your spell casting checks. Okay, so that's pretty simple. And then we're going to cover that today. Mage Traveler. So now we've given them a specialized weapon, specialized vehicle that they can travel in at level 14. So they can pick from a sailing ship, submarine, wagon, flying carpet, flying ship, air balloon, with their Game Master approval. And yeah, you've got to complete a quest, but yeah, there's a possibility of getting a new fandangled vehicle of some kind. Portal Pilgrim basically allows you to teleport 10 willing creatures at level 16. Okay, you can go to a different plane of existence, travel to another planet, that sort of thing. It's basically traveling the multiverse. In addition to that, even though that 10 willing creatures that are, the portal's only going to be 5 foot tall or 5 foot high, so it's not that big. But it will be open for a reasonable period of time as well, okay? The portal remains open for 10 minutes. But here's the thing. You can also make a portal if you, instead of spending 20 minutes to open the portal, you can spend 30 minutes and make a portal big enough to put a colossal-sized creature or vehicle with passengers through that portal. So you can actually take your sailing ship with you or your whatever the heck it is. Spell Mastery, still haven't figured that out. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. We have Mystic Item at level 18. So you get to either discover or find as part of a quest a legendary magic item, or you craft it or make it, which I think is what wizard players are going to want to do more than anything else. So I've built it into the character progression where you actually get to make a legendary magic item of some kind. And of course you'll have a discussion with your game master around that, because there'll be a quest to do as always. Level 20. You get an epic boon. It's pretty standard with all the things I do at level 20. I think it's a good idea. Just need to fix the epic boons because they're not very good. So when you reach level 20, you get to make your own magical spell. At any level, doesn't matter. So you have to determine the spell name, the level, the school of magic, the casting time, the range, the components, the duration, and the description. And the process of making that new spell takes 1 day for each level of the spell. And the final spell created must be approved by the Game Master. So if you try to make a level 1 spell that actually has the power of a level 9 spell, no, they're not going to say yes to that. But you can make your own spell, your signature spell. And that's sort of where I am at. Right now, I think we have covered most of the things that I needed to deal with. These are my notes here. I got rid of that because that's already been done, so we can remove this. The Vancian magic and spell slots, we're about to get rid of them today. Mishap table, I haven't finished that, haven't done that yet. Okay, permanency spells, somebody's talking about permanency, weren't they? That's right. Okay, so that's all the stuff that I have so far, and now it's time to get on with the job of actually building everything out. So I'm going to have my chat open so that you can put in your feedback. Now that I got through that reasonably quickly, which was good. Okay, all right, so I'm going to grab my phone. Where do I put my phone? Phone. Okay, all right, let's get in here. Let's get back into the seat, back in the saddle. Okay, all right. Hat comes off. Time to work. Okay, let's have a look. What have people been saying? Well, I've been blabbing that whole time. Hello, Karaman Graves. Hello, how are you, Karaman? Did I get the name right? You let me know. Can you bring familiars back, please? So first of all, actually, do you know there is the find familiar spell? You do realise there is the find familiar spell. There is the find familiar spell. I'm assuming what you mean when you say, can you bring back familiars, is instead of having to cast a spell that's find familiar, you just want to have a familiar as a feature of a wizard. And when I think about a wizard, I guess that does actually make an awful lot of sense. Familiars. The question is, where do we put it and when should you get it? So I find that familiars in 5e are really powerful, so I guess I need to decide what feature needs to be displaced to put in a feature like that. It's not a bad idea, honestly. I think if you're playing a wizard, you kind of expect at some point you're going to have a familiar. Do we need to be reliant so much on find familiar as a spell? Find familiar is accessible by a few different spellcasters, isn't it? So yeah, maybe we can do something with that. I'm just a little bit unsure how to structure it, because I do not want it to look like, oh, you get the find familiar spell as a prepared spell, because I don't do prepared spells, so I've got to find a different way of dealing with it. Permanency spell was great in older editions. I also liked reverse spells. Flesh to stone becomes stone to flesh. That's actually a very good point. You're talking about basic BECME D&D. You're going back to reversing spells. Reversing a spell effect, Samuel, is actually not a bad idea. Reverse spell effects. I mean, the reason to have a reverse spell effect is so that you can undo something that's already been done, right? That's really the intention behind that. Okay, all right. That's an interesting idea. I think that both of those ideas have a place. I don't really like the idea of the permanency spell. If I'm going to apply a permanency aspect to a spell, I think ultimately it needs to be a very high level feature, because it is permanency. You're casting a spell and you're making it permanent. So maybe there are some things that we can truck in here that will make sense. Okay, all right, let's deal with the first thing. Spell mastery, right there. I'm inclined to think spell mastery should be the permanency spell. That is level 17 as a feature. But the criteria for making a spell permanent, this is the big tricky problem. If you look at the permanency spell that actually exists in 3.5, rather than, a lot of the older versions didn't have a permanency spell. Like you didn't have a spell that allowed you to make something completely permanent. My favorite one was sticks to snakes and snakes to sticks. Right. Right, so let's assume that if we were to put in that maybe the answer to spell mastery, but I think it would be called spell permanency. Spell permanency. Now, if I'm going to do this, I've done a discussion around making spells permanent in the past when I was looking at, what was it? So most of the spells, so for example in 5e, most of the spells take between 30 days and a year to make permanent. So it takes a long, long time. Then if you look at something like 3.5 D&D had the permanency spell, and the permanency spell, if I remember right, with regard to that was... So let's just make a jot down based off what I know in terms of the spells you can make permanent 5e. So 30 days to 1 year. Okay, all right. So what's the next thing that we need to consider? If we're going to be doing something like this and making spells permanent, we need to actually figure that one out. 3.5. There is an idea percolating through my head. I'm considering making 30 days for every spell level. So a first level spell, you can make it permanent, but you have to spend 30 days casting it. Or cast it 30 times might be a better way. Casting it 30 times might be an easier way to deal with that. I don't want 9th level spells to be easy, take 30 days to cast to make permanent. That would be just broken as shit. And my players would point that out very, very quickly. I know they would. Permanency. Do I have it here? Where is it? Here we go, permanency. So permanency in 3.5, and let's get real, 3.5 is not a really good indication of avoiding power creep, because it didn't do that. 2 rounds to cast it, but you had to lose experience points. You had to pay for it with experience points. I don't think that's a good idea. And there are only certain spells you could do that with. You couldn't do it for every single spell. So, probably not a good example in that case. Let's have another think about this. I don't think Me. Does anybody remember if AD&D 1st edition or 2nd edition had permanency as a spell? I don't know if I remember it being there when I was reading through it. So, okay, so now if I'm dealing with spells and Me, I'm pretty sure there's nothing around permanency. Magic users, spells. So I'm looking at the rules cyclopedia for Dungeons and Dragons, Me. Okay, let's get this down. We're doing all right so far. Spells, spell variants, travel, money. Where are they? Spell indices, charisma. No, not there. Here we go. All right, well, at least there's some information on reversing spells, because I like the idea of you being able to reverse the effect of a spell. So let's do... Okay. Let's try that. No. Reading spell descriptions. Here we go. So if I'm looking at cleric, I do not believe that there is a permanency spell at all. And I think there's very rare occasions where it comes up as a thing. And if it does, it's probably really high. But we want to give them the feature, not a spell, a feature which allows them to make a spell permanent, don't we? I don't think that 30 days to make a level 1 spell is unreasonable, frankly. So, let's see. Nope. Don't have that there. Reading magic. Pretty sure. And Okay. So fly, no. Clairvoyancy, charm, no. There is a big risk to making a spell permanent. That's the only hassle, I think. Okay. All right. So I think what I'll do for now, since I can't find anything in there, let's write something up. At 7th level, you have achieved mastery over certain spells. Okay, let's go here. That's what I want to say. And then you can make a spell effect permanent if you cast the same spell repeatedly over a number of days. You can make a spell effect permanent if you cast the same spell repeatedly over a number of days. So, how's this going to read? So how do I structure this? Okay, so let's make it look like this. For every level, every spell level, for every spell level, you must cast the for every spell level you must cast the same spell. Okay. For every spell level you must cast the same spell what's the good word to say this? Oh man, structure it in a way that's going to make sense and is not going to look dopey. That's my problem. What's the best way? Hello, there's a few people in here now. Sorry, hello, how's it going, Dungeons and Chronics? How are you doing? Karaman, yep, hello. Maybe restrict permanency to non-damage spells and low-level spells, 5th level or lower, like darkness or fog cloud. Actually, that's a very good idea. Or limit them to only one permanent spell at a time. I suppose that's true. I actually think that's not bad, though. What you're suggesting by limiting it to certain level spells, we don't want them to be able to make certain spells completely permanent because they're just too strong. But that's actually not a bad idea. I think both your suggestions actually make a lot of sense. So if I look at let's look at the wizard up to level 5, and let's see if we need to restrict it and how we restrict it. That's probably a good starting point. So I'm not worried about casting cantrips permanently. Frankly, couldn't care less. Okay, but that's probably one thing we need to state is you can't make a cantrip permanent because there would be 0 levels to it and you assume you can do it straight away. So that's one thing we consider, is that would be exploited. So no cantrips can be made permanent, but let's do something else with this. Is it actually going to matter? Let's think about this. Is it going to be a problem to make a cantrip permanent? It's basically something that's infinite already. It actually makes... Would it really matter at level 17? What do we got here? We've got Acid Splash. Okay. We've got Blade Ward, Chill Touch, Dancing Lights, Firebolt, Friends, Light, Mage Hand, Mending, Message, Minor Illusion, Poison Spray, Prestidigitation, Ray of Frost, Shocking Grasp, True Strike. Actually don't think it really matters in the slightest. I think that's not a problem. Okay, so let's go here. It takes 15 days of casting a cantrip repeatedly to make it permanent. Repeatedly to make the magical effect permanent. Okay, so let's say 15 days. I think that's not a problem. Let's do another thing. Okay, so damage dealing spells and spells above 5th level can't be made permanent. Okay. Let's have a look at our spells and see if that is a good cutoff point for making something permanent. I think that's a much better idea. I actually like that. I didn't even think of it. When I was thinking about permanency, when somebody mentioned making spells permanent, it didn't even occur to me that level 17, actually, it's not such a bad idea. That's probably a good place to do it. Okay, let's have a look at the level 1 spells to see if we're really going to cause some real headaches for people. But I don't think there's really any headaches for cantrips. We're not going to worry about damage dealing cantrips because they're not going to even be in part of the equation. So alarm, I'm not worried about alarm becoming permanent. Burning hands won't come into effect. Charm person. Now, charm person in the past was much stronger than it is in 5e. The older version of charm person is they were charmed and they were charmed indefinitely. It would just last like for a long time. No, you don't have to be Samuel. You do not need to be worried about the comments. I think teleportation circle is a good benchmark since it says the circle can be permanent by casting it every day for a year. I see where you're going with that. Is that why you've picked that one? Teleportation circle. Benchmark. Yeah, because we do not really want them casting it yet. So let's have a look here. Let me just keep looking at these spells. Chromatic Orb, don't have to worry about it. Color Spray, don't have to worry about it. Comprehend languages. Actually, they kind of allowed that in the past, didn't they? Detect magic. Well, that would sort of eliminate some of the hassles. Disguise self. Expeditious retreat. False life. Featherfall. Find familiar. Fog cloud. Grease. Identify. Illusionary script. Jump. Long strider. Mage armor. You could make it permanent. I think that am I worried about that? Magic missile won't come into effect. Protection from evil and good. Ray of sickness. Shield. Shield is a problem. Being able to have permanent shield would be a big pain in the ass for anybody. Like if you imagine having shield up indefinitely. So there needs to be, whatever I write here, there needs to be some dungeon master approval required. I do that a lot with high level features, like, game master needs to approve it, otherwise it doesn't go down. But there's a problem. Shield would be a problem spell for sure. What else have we got here? Because your armor class would just be sick if you could do it. And it's only level 1 spell, it's 30 days. And then if you did mage armor, another 30 days, 60 days, and suddenly your armor class is bejesus. Oh, it's just monstrous. Sleep. Tasha's Hideous Laughter, Tense's Floating Disc, Thunder Wave, Unseen Servant, Witch Bolt, not worrying about those ones. Thunder Wave either, I don't need to worry about that. Alter Self, Arcane Lock, oh good lord, Blindness, Deafness, Blur, Cloud of Daggers, Continual Flame, Crown of Madness. So there are some problems that would occur by making something permanent. Even if you were at level 17, I can see there'd be some problems. Misty Step, suddenly you can Misty Step indefinitely. That would be a problem. So there are some hassles here. There's quite a few, in fact. Imagine Lemon's Tiny Hut, and you can make it permanent. Hypnotic Pattern, Gaseous Form would be wound up permanent. Fly would be permanent. There are a whole lot of headaches opened up by making a spell completely permanent. Reactionary spells, the problem is, here's the problem, Samuel, with doing something like that. I've already got a few things I've got to restrict. I've got to restrict what level it can be permanent, damage dealing spells, and then suddenly reactionary spells. There are going to be too many aspects involved. I'm under the my general feeling is that there's going to be a problem with a permanency spell effect like this. There's going to be giant headaches. Yeah, there used to be a permanency spell. There was. Rule out reactionary spells. Our problem is not level 15 and level 5 spells. It's not even level 5 spells or level 6 spells so much. It's actually level 1 spells that are our problem. Our first problem starts with level 1, because I can tell you now, the spells that you could make permanent that would become a huge headache for a player, for a game master, are going to be things like, I'm not going to worry about Identify, but Mage Armor, suddenly that becomes permanent. So you've always got it there. Suddenly they decide Shield is permanent. So if you've got a dexterity of +2 for your modifier, add that to your armor, your mage armor, your 15, then you add your shield, which you make permanent as well. Your armor class 20, and you're a fucking wizard. I mean, that is a bad thing. But it doesn't stop there. So I think that this is conceptually, as an idea, it sounds cool, but there are problems. So I think there's a weakness in trying to put this one in. I don't think it can be done. Even if I rule out reactionary spells, it's not going to solve the problem, because it's not just those spells. There are just certain spells in the list that will create headaches. What else is another one that I can tell you will definitely create headaches? Well, suddenly, look, in the past you could have darkness permanently. Dark vision, should I say, not darkness. But suddenly you cast darkness and it's permanent. Okay. Magic Mouth, not really an issue as far as I'm concerned, but Magic Weapon. Suddenly you can make that's a second level spell. If it took 30 days for every level, it's take you 60 days, you can make a magic weapon magical by casting Magic Weapon on the weapon constantly. Do you think that a wizard character is not going to do that at level 17? Now, the argument would be, okay, but Fred, you are level 17, and I get your point. But it's not just that one. Like, there's too many of them. That Misty Step could be permanent. What else? Nostrils Magic Aura could be permanent. Now, it doesn't sound like a bad spell to have permanent, but oh my god, trust me, it would be. It would be bad news. Phantasmal Force does damage, so we know. See Invisibility would be permanent. Spider Climb could be permanent. So those are all things. Rope Trick could be permanent. Those are kind of pretty, and they're only level 2 spells. Level 3, Animate Dead. I'm not quite so concerned about animating dead and making them permanent, but I see there being a whole bunch of things, and if I were to try to put in more restrictions to alleviate that problem, I don't think it would become unwieldy. What else? Counterspell could be permanent. Now, you could say, yeah, but you just add the reactionary thing. But it's not just reactionary spells. That's the thing. Water breathing could be permanent. Tongues could be permanent. Doesn't sound like a powerful spell, but actually it is. What else could be permanent? Phantom Steed could be permanent. You could have a Phantom Steed and make it permanent. I'm not so sure that I'd worry so much about that one, actually. What else would be? Lehman's Tiny Hut is one that really concerns me. Gaseous Form and Fly, both at level 3, they're all a problem. Arcane Eye could be permanent. Holy shit. Arcane Eye is a very powerful spell. Banishment doesn't do damage, but it could be made permanent. What else? Dimension Door could be permanent. Evard's, no, that's damage dealing. Greater Invisibility. Level 4, you could make Greater Invisibility permanent. You know right now that's too much. You know right now that would be going too far, right? Lehman's Secret Chest. Not quite so sure I'm worried about that one. Mordenkainen's Private Sanctum could be made permanent. Now that sounds like a lot of fun. Polymorph could be made permanent. You wouldn't need true polymorph, and literally you could transform somebody and they would be permanently that way. That's a level 4. How many days would that take? That would take about 120 days. That's not very long, and you transform somebody permanently into that shape. Stone Skin could be permanent. Not that you would do that, because it would be smarter to go for something like Mage Armor and Shield. I just do not know that this is going to work at all. Animate objects, I don't really worry too much about myself, because it's just animate objects. Dominate person could be permanent. Dream could be permanent. Legendary Law could be permanent. Pass Wall could be permanent. Yeah, there are too many. Scry could be permanent. Telekinesis could be permanent. Teleportation Circle could be permanent. Now, that's already built into the game, for sure. But I'm actually not really worried about too much about that one. I actually, if that becomes permanent, it's not a big deal as far as I'm concerned. So I think that there is actually a huge problem with making a permanency spell, even at level 17, for some of these things. It would just make your wizard way too good. And then they still need to remain some weakness to them, rather than the sort of things that could potentially happen with this. I just don't think this is going to work. This is probably why Wizards of the Coast never did it. What are you saying here? Maybe spells that have duration longer than 1 minute. You could have permanency spell use one of the wizard magic item attunement slots. I suppose you could tie it to that. I just feel like there'd be a point where it would be exploited in a way that it probably shouldn't be allowed to be exploited. So I'm probably going to rule out the idea of permanency as a feature. I just don't think it's going to be a good idea. Yes, that's true. So Carmen does point out that you could still dispel the magical effect even if you made it permanent. And that's true. But it won't matter if you've already hit them fast enough. If they're already got greater invisibility, you won't be able to target them. You won't know where they are. Before a Game Master's minions has a chance to cast Dispel Magic on them, which they won't be able to because they can't see them, they will already be dead. So it won't make any difference. Dispelling it, I just don't think it can work this way. I would have to have a list of spells that you could make permanent. Literally, this feature, spell permanency, I'd have to select spells that would not be able to be exploited and abused in some way. And that's the only way this would work, is to actually make a list of spells you could make permanent. You couldn't just have it open to everything. And that's why 3.5 had restrictions on the types of spells you could make permanent. So I am not of the opinion that this is a particularly good idea. So I'm going to leave this for now and come back to it. If I come up with a solution, then I'll deal with that then. Okay. Let's deal with the Mage Tower permanent. Do I want to do that? No, let's go to the beginning. Let's deal with magic full stop. Because I haven't actually told you how I want magic to work, and I haven't done the hazard table. So let's deal with magic now. So spell casting. Let's get spell casting for our wizard sorted out. Let's deal with that. So as a student of arcane magic, you have a spell book containing spells that show the first glimmers of your true power. Wizards are not able to cast spells wearing any type of armor. I've put that restriction in. If you wear armor, you can't cast a spell. See spell rules for general rules of spell casting and the spells listed for wizard spell for the wizard spell list. So one of the things that people are probably going to be thinking, Fred, that sucks. Now we can't have a war mage who wears armor and casts spells. That's a warlock, people. That's not a wizard. That's a warlock. That's a new class. Not a subclass. It should be a completely new class, because you'd have to if you're going to give wizards armor, like real armor that they wear, then they'd have to do special type of training. You'd have to downpower all of their spell list. Their spell list would have to be very different to just a straight on wizard to be able to counter that. Otherwise, you're making just a nuclear bomb. And the wizard is already a nuclear bomb. You don't need to make a bigger nuclear bomb. So this is why I've stated. And in older versions of the game, wearing armor was not something you could do. In BackMe, you couldn't wear armor. And AD&D, there was spell failure. If you try to cast in armor, there were problems. 3.5 had that as well. Let's eliminate that completely. No blooming armor for the wizard. You're still supposed to be squishy. Okay, so we'll leave that there. All right, so I'm sure that just scared a few people away, but I'm adamant that they should not be allowed to wear armor if you're going to cast spells. They're literally changing the reality around them, so let's leave that alone. Okay, cantrips. At first level, you know 3 cantrips of your choice from the wizard spell list. You learn additional wizard spells of your choice at higher levels as shown in the cantrips known column of the wizard table. Okay, so this is true too. I don't think I need to change anything there. I think I left that all the same. I just need to separate this, don't I? Let's go here, bold and underline. And what else was I trying to do here? Let's just check this. Yes, it is 3, going up to 6. Okay, all right, spell book. So let's go down, and this is going to be different to what you see written here. I'm not changing everything, but I am definitely changing how this looks. Bold, underline. So at first level, you have a spell book containing one first level spell of your choice. Your spell book is a repository of all these wizard spells you know, including cantrips. Including cantrips. And that there. That's the difference. We're gonna put cantrips into the book as well. Okay, so there's a slight difference to what you might be used to. Now, why are we getting only one first level spell as a wizard at first level? The reason being is that well, it'll become more clear in a second. So here we go. Now, do I need to make any other statement here? I think that's all right. I think the rest of it, because you can learn more spells later on. Okay, so let's make a little statement here so that it's clear. Okay, spell book, because we're dealing with a spell book. Okay. As you level up, you will gain more cantrips and spells of different levels. Levels that are indicated by the wizard's spell. Now, what do I want to call this? Number of spells that are wizard. I think that's the easiest way to go. Yeah, okay. Okay, so as you level up, you will gain more cantrips and spells of different levels that are indicated by the wizard spell learned or known table. Okay, all right. So we've got that. And we're doing all right so far. I'm quite happy with that progress. So next, let's deal with casting spells. And then I think we're jumping into the hazard thing, and then we'll be dealing with learning new spells at higher levels. I think that's right. We might actually need to change that into put that in a different place. That's going to be confusing. I feel like this should be moved. So I'll go here. Your spell book probably should be in a different place as well. So we'll cut this. And we'll go up, 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 up. And it probably should live right about here somewhere. Okay. Paste. Okay, so. Learning new spells. So that progression actually doesn't work the way it is. It's going to look a little bit different. Spellbook. Spellbook. Okay. That doesn't matter. We'll get rid of this. And separate that. No, get rid of this completely, unhighlight that, do that, cool. Learning new spells. Each time you gain a wizard level, you add new wizard spells of your choice to your spellbook for free. Each of these spells must have a level for which the spell... No, that doesn't make any sense because that's it. We're not doing that. Delete. On your adventures, you might find other spells that you can add to your spellbook. See the Your Spellbook sidebar. So we'll deal with that in a second. As you level up, you gain more cantrips and spells. As you each time you gain a spell wizard level, you add new wizard cantrips and spells of different levels of your choice to your spellbook for free. Okay. So let's get rid of this. And let's get rid of that. Cut. Okay, that's better. Okay. And then paste. The number of spells you learn or know is indicated by the wizard's spell learned or known table. Okay. So that's fine. Spell book, we might have to do a little bit of adjustment here, but we'll come back to this in a second. I should be probably taking a break, but let's see if we can nail down a little bit more before that happens. All right, learning new spells, cantrips. First of all, you know, cantrip choice. You learn. Cantrips. Okay, so let's do this. So each time you add a new okay, that's fine. That's fine. At first level, you have a spellbook containing 3 cantrips and 1 first level wizard spell of your choice. The spellbook is a repository of your wizard spells you know, including cantrips. Okay, all right, that's all I wanted to put in there. Now, casting spells. Now, this is the system I put in for the cleric, but we're going to use the wizard. So the wizard's table shows how many spells you learn how to cast from your shows how many spells you learn to cast from your wizard spells of 0 level and higher. To cast a spell, you must have selected it as a learned or known spell. Okay. You can only cast spells of a level that you know. For example, if you have a 3rd level wizard, you know how many. Now, level 3, level 3, and how many of those. So I just need to make sure I get that right. If this is the example, level 3, what do you get? Level 3, you get 3 first level and 1 second level. 3 and 1. Okay, all right. 3 first level and 1 second level spell. A spell can be cast per day unless the spell fails. Okay, so and I probably should include cantrips too. I didn't say that in the last one, did I? Cantrips 3rd level, so we've got to go there. Cantrips are a little bit different, so let's do this. You know, 3 cantrips, 3 first level and 1 second level spell. Okay. All right. Spell casting failure. When you cast a spell, a wizard spell, let's go, not a cleric spell, but wizard. wizard spell of first level or higher, there is a chance the spell will fail and be inaccessible till the dawn of the next day. Okay. When a non-cantrip spell has an attack roll or is cast but does not hit the target, it fails and is lost till the next day. So do not fail your attack roll with your spell if you've got an attack roll. Should a non-cantrip spell require a saving throw to have a magical effect and is successfully resisted by the target, then the spell is not able to be used until the next day, so you lose it. Non-cantrip spells that have no attack roll and no saving throw or require what have I put here? Non-cantrip spells that have no attack roll, no saving throw, or require a saving throw, but still have a magical effect on a failed saving throw must make a spellcasting check. So this is where things get a little complicated. And it's not or and. No, it is going to be or. Okay, so non-cantrips, no attack roll, no saving throw, or requires a saving throw but still has a magical effect on a failed saving throw, must make a spellcasting check. So in other words, if there's no attack roll, there's no saving throw, or it's a saving throw but it still has a magical effect on a failed saving throw, they must instead, you're not making a saving throw, you are making a spellcasting check. So a spellcasting check that has failed means the spell is... Now this is where my problem will exist with this, because I am taking a system. 5e uses two different mechanics, saving throws and attack rolls, and I've been thinking about whether I should actually ditch this idea completely and simply go with just a spellcasting check. One, to simplify it, to make life a little bit easier, so that things like attack rolls aren't really a big factor. But I'm inclined to hang on to something like the attack roll, but I'm not so sure about hanging on to the saving throw. This is one of those things that I'm a little unsure about. I don't know if this is going to be too easy to understand either. This is my concern with this little bit here. It's like this might be just a bit too complicated. Let's go here. Okay, let's go here. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. Should a non-cantrip spell require a saving throw, target is not able to do it today. A non-cantrip spell that has no attack roll, no saving throw, or requires a saving throw, but still has a magical effect on a failed saving throw, must make a spellcasting check. A spellcasting check that has failed means the spell is not accessible till the next day. Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay, next day, and you must roll on the wizard's spell. I believe we're calling it failure. Spellcasting failure table. Failure table. The difficulty class or DC of a spell casting check is 10 plus the spell level. To make a spell casting check, the wizard must roll a d20, a 20-sided dice, and no, that's not right. And add the result to their intelligence modifier. Now, okay, So this is... Now I need to probably make it clear when and where. So there's still something else I need to put in here. When it comes to so wizard cantrips wizard cantrips aren't subject to a spell casting check or failure. Let's make sure I say that in a sentence there so it's clear. So cantrips, no spell casting check, no spell casting failure. They always work. But first level spells and upward that are not cantrips could fail. So the attack roll one is fine. Non-cantrip spell requires a saving throw, has a magical effect. Successful resist the target. Okay, then the spell is lost. Non-cantrip spells that have no attack roll, no saving throw, or require a saving throw, but still have a magical effect on a failed saving throw, must make a spell casting check. That is still going to cause confusion. Still going to cast confusion. Well, not necessarily, actually, now that I think of it. I think that is actually going to be, that's actually too much. I need to keep it so that it is actually simple enough to understand, and actually that is a level of complexity that actually is going to be fucking awful to contend with. So I think I need to change that. Either I'm saying non-cantrip spells that have a saving throw are requiring that are successfully resisted. So you might still you fail it, you take the effect, but you can't use it again. Okay, no, that's actually fine. I think that is actually unnecessary. The idea is the automatic spell does not get passed automatically. So non-cantrip spells that have no attack roll or and no saving throw must make a spell casting check. Will only affect these. Spell casting check that is failed means the spell is not accessible till the next day, and you must roll on the wizard spell casting failure table. That's fine. That makes sense. That's all good. So what happens when you have a spell that is a saving throw? The attack roll is easy. If you miss, you lose the spell. That's fine. Cool. If you hit, you don't lose the spell has effect. If you have a saving throw and it's a save or not work one, so saving throw succeeds, the effect goes into place. If you fail, there's no effect. But then there's the saving throw. Let me think about this. There's the saving throw that if you succeed, the spell's full effect goes into play. But if you fail the saving throw, there's a half effect. Well, the half effect would still go into play, wouldn't it? But it would still mean you would lose access to that spell because they successfully resisted the spell. Is that right? So the effect would still be there. That's not a problem. No, that's fine. Okay, that makes sense. I'm pretty sure I got this. Please let me know if this looks confusing. What about spells like Fireball that require multiple targets to make saving throws? If one succeeds... Yeah, so I know where you're going with this, Samuel. It's a good point. What about spells like Fireball that require multiple targets to make saving throws? If one succeeds on the saving throw, the others pass Is that considered a failure and you can't use it again? It would be. It would be. So it would mean if Fireball would easily be lost. Now there's a problem, isn't it? Think mathematically. If you are targeting a group of individuals, the chances are that at least somebody is going to succeed on it, but there's definitely going to be at least one individual who fails the check and takes full damage. But there's somebody who's going to succeed. So out of a group of 5 or 8 or whatever the heck you got, you're probably going to have somebody who succeeds, they resist the spell, and you can't use it again. And so you will only get to use Fireball as a 3rd level spell once. I think mathematically we can just be guaranteed you would only ever get to use it once. There's a problem, isn't there? That's actually quite a huge problem, Samuel, isn't it? Because mathematically, you don't either get one use of high level spells, because the chances are, particularly with the half ones, the half ones are the biggest problem. When you're dealing with multiple targets too, it's a bit of a problem. So here's the thing. Maybe I need to actually get rid of that aspect of it. I think maybe that is one aspect I need to get rid of. Let's get rid of the fucking saving throw. I honestly think the saving throw is probably an overused mechanic as it is. Let's get rid of the saving throw. It's a good point. So the problem is multiple targets and saving throws that have a half effect. If you even if you fail it, there's still another effect going in place. Although to a certain degree, I still feel like there's going to be confusion about that. Let's get rid of the saving throw. Let's get rid of the saving throw. We'll just keep the attack roll. I think that's the easiest way to deal with this. So let's go. We're not going to hit attack roll. Okay. When a non-cantrip spell has an attack roller and is cast but doesn't hit the target, it fails and is lost till the next day. Target or targets. Target or multiple targets. Targets. It fails and is lost till the next day. Do I want to do that? How many spells have multiple targets? Well, first of all, we have Magic Missile. Magic Missile, multiple targets, automatically hits. So we don't have to worry about Magic Missile because Magic Missile always hits. We have targets. So Scorching Ray, multiple targets, and it's an attack roll, isn't it? Ray of Frost, no. Okay. I think the problem will be, ultimately, definitely saving throws are a big hassle. Attack rolls might be as well. Samuel, this is where my head is going, Samuel. I'm actually thinking that I need to do that. And the creature can make the saving throw to mitigate damage. I think that is probably the easiest way. Let's just eliminate the attack roll and the saving throws and make it a spell casting check for a wizard. Because that means a first level spell, your DC is going to be 11 for a first level spell. So the chances are there's a better than chance that better than 50% chance you'll succeed on doing that. You add your intelligence modifier to your 20-sided dice roll, so you would probably have a fairly good chance of succeeding at that check. That's fine. Okay, better than 50% chance. As the level goes up, it's going to get harder, and it's going to get harder, and it's going to get harder. That means 9th level spells are going to be very, very difficult to pull off. So with your intelligence modifier capping out somewhere in the vicinity of a 5, unless you have a magic item that you can wear. If you've got a +5 modifier at higher level and you get there quick enough, a 9th level spell, what do you need to roll on a 20-sided dice to make that succeed? That's the problem, isn't it? 9th level spells, 8th level spells, some of these are going to be really difficult. Anything above level 5. I'm not really worried about level 5 spells, level 6 spells, 7, 8, 9, that's the problem. They become risky to cast. Because there's potentially a... Okay. This is something I need to definitely play test. But I'm agreeing with you, Samuel. Samuel, I agree. I think maybe this is why Kelsey looked at this and decided just a spell casting check. That's probably what the answer is, isn't it? It simplifies it. It eliminates the problem of attack rolls, saving throws, half effects for saving throws. It's why she doesn't even have saving throws in her game. I'm not willing to get rid of saving throws completely, but maybe we narrow down when a wizard casts a spell, saving throws are not something they need to concern themselves. Attack rolls, okay, they don't need to concern themselves. Okay, so here we go. Let's rewrite this section and then I will go take a break. And I think we've actually made some good. What the heck is going on here? Somebody's sending me strange stuff. So, when you cast a wizard spell of first level or higher, there is a chance the spell will fail and be inaccessible till the dawn of the next day. Wizard cantrips aren't subject to a spell casting check or failure. When a non-cantrip spell has an attack roll or saving throw, yep. Ignore the spell's dice mechanics. Ignore the spells dice rolling mechanics. Spells dice rolling mechanics. Okay, so instead, the wizard makes a spell casting check. Okay, when a non-cantrip spell has an attack roll or saving throw, ignore the spell's dice rolling mechanics and... Is it and? Yes, and. And instead, the wizard makes a spell casting check. A spell casting check is failed. Okay. When a spell casting check spell casting check is failed. Okay, when the spell casting check is failed, the spell has no effect and the spell is not accessible till the next day. Okay. When a spell casting check is failed, the spell has no effect. And the spell is not accessible till the next day. Additionally, failed wizard spells require the player to roll on the wizard spellcasting failure table. The difficulty class or DC of a spellcasting check is 10 plus the spell's level. To make a spellcasting check, the wizard must roll a d20 a 20-sided dice and add the result to the intelligence modifier. Okay, that's better. Okay, I'm happier with that. That's working a lot better. Oh my gosh. All right, I think we've got that. That will be a lot easier to determine. So what happens? We are just ignoring it. What about half effects? Well, I might have to rewrite some of the spells, the half effect spells. I've never been very fond of if you fail to save, don't fail to save. Really, I think the easiest way to contend with half effects on saving throws is to ignore it. Just to completely ignore it. That would be the easiest way to deal with it. Okay, let's do this. Okay, spell casting ability. Intelligence. Let's do this. Okay, so intelligence is your spell casting ability for your wizard. Samuel, thank you for your thoughts. It did really help narrow down what I needed to do here. It was actually quite difficult. The power of your spell comes from your years of study into the fabric of magic, to the, it's really the physics, isn't it? Physics of magic. You use your wisdom modifier, no, intelligence modifier. You use your intelligence when a wizard spell, okay. Spell refers to your spell casting ability. In addition, you use your wisdom intelligence modifier when setting the DC saving throw for us. No, that's all going to go. That doesn't make any sense anymore. We get rid of this. And attack rolls. Do I even need that section now? Now that I look at it, do I even need that section? I can get rid of that. I can get rid of that. I can get rid of this. Do I need to include the proficiency bonus? I'm just thinking about this now. Just give me a second, people, while I nut this out. For a level 9 spell, it will be extremely difficult. So if I have a +5 for my intelligence modifier and it's maxed out, that's the biggest number I can add to my 20-sided dice. Okay, all right, so I have a 5. So what do I need to roll to get, for a level 9 spell, that would be a DC 19. 10 plus 9, 19. So with 5, I need to get 14. So it would be more than, oh my. So the chance of failure is quite high. It's not 50%, it's quite a bit more difficult to actually succeed. Our proficiency bonus maxes out at level 20 at where? It's a 6, isn't it? It's a proficiency maxes out at 6. So maybe I need to actually add in another number to that to make it a little bit easier to contend with the high level spells. And I think that's probably because Shadow Dark doesn't have spells as high as that, so it doesn't go as high as that. So what is the number that we're looking at? That means if you get your intelligence modifier up to a 5 as quickly as possible, when can we do that? By when? Let's say they have a 16 at level 4, they'll get it up to a 18, and then if they draw it again, they can get it up to a 20 for their intelligence. Their modifier will be a 5. That will be level 8. They have access to level 4 spells by then. Okay, all right. And we're adding how much? It's really the tail end. It's not really the beginning end. That's the problem. If anything, 50-50 chance that a spell's going to work is going to be pretty rough. Yeah, it's kind of like here. I think what I need to do is I need to make an adjustment because the maths for 5e is different. So I have to rewrite this. This isn't going to work. Here we go. So to make a spell casting check, the wizard must roll a 20-sided dice. And add the result to their intelligence modifier. And I think we have to use the proficiency bonus, honestly. That means 3, 5. That means that your chance of success on low-level spells will be pretty good. And you will still be able to hit the upper end of your higher-level spells, level 9 spells, because you have a 5, probably have a 5, then a 6, that's 11. So you're rolling... At what level would it be? Level 17. At level 17, 5 and a 6, you've probably got 11. 11 for your modifier, for your spellcasting check, and then your DC for a level 9 spell is 19. It's 11. So you need to get an 8. 8 or more on the dice to be successful. 8 or more on the dice to be successful. Okay, I can live with that. I think that works. Let's do this. And proficiency bonus. Okay. To make a spellcasting check, the wizard must roll a 20-sided dice and add the result to their intelligence modifier and proficiency bonus. So that is going to look like this. We're going to get rid of this here. And we'll get rid of that, and we'll just call this the spellcasting check. Spellcasting check, and it is roll D20 plus your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier. And let's cut this. Paste this. And then okay, that's better. I think that's going to work fine. That's certainly a lot better. All right, I'm going to come back to this in a second, and I'll do that next. Let me know, please, particularly Samuel and anybody else who wants to pipe in. Please let me know if what I've written down makes no sense. You see any problems. Right now, I've eliminated the attack roll and the saving throw on spells for wizards. They're just going to make a spell casting check. And the check is a 20-sided dice, your intelligence modifier, your proficiency bonus, and you can compare it to a DC or difficulty class that is set as 10 plus the spells level. That's the DC. Okay, and we should be able to hit the top end and deal with the low-level spells, but there's still a chance you could lose the spell. I think that does it. I don't know about you, but I think that does it. Okay, I'm going to come back to this in a second. I am going to take a quick break. That took a lot longer than I thought. I've probably been here longer than I should have, but I had needed to nut this out and get it sorted. It's a big factor, a big aspect of the wizard. It needs to be done, and so at least it's there. I'm a lot happier with that. That looks much cleaner. I don't know why I didn't just decide it was going to be proficiency bonus as well. I just didn't do my maths. I didn't do the head stuff. I should have thought about this a bit more. Anyway, so I'm going to go take a 5-minute break, go use the toilet, come back, deal with wizard mishaps or the wizard failure table very shortly. But Arnold will look after you for 5 minutes or more. I won't be long. Hello, Pale Rider. How you doing? The lava dart creates a what, a syringe-like dart that flies at the target. Upon hitting it, it injects flesh-eating into the body. Oh, you sick puppy, you. You sick puppy. All right, 5 minutes or less, I'll be back. Ugh. Okay, let's get back in the wagon, back into the chair, back into the hot spot. Drink some water. Oh, refill. Okay. Hello, how are you? How is everybody doing? Smoke break. Yeah, smoke break, absolutely. do your smoke break for sure. Okay, so we're going to go back into this. I'm going to be dealing with hazards or failure, spell failure. I do not want to be as what's the guess? I want it to look a little bit different to what Kelsey's done. I've gone with a progression of 2 6-sided dice rather than a 12-sided dice. The reason is bell curve. I was thinking I do not want a straight line in terms of what we're dealing with here. I want a bell curve, so the middle numbers are the things that have come up the most. I want the middle stuff to be not as severe, and the stuff on the outliers, I want that to be more severe. That's what I'm looking to try to do. So if you're confused as to what I'm trying to achieve, that's my aim, is to try to do it that way. Let's grab some water, put it into my cup, and then start looking at how this is going to look. Okay, that's good. Cool. Let's have a look at how this is going to look. So I need to put I need to look at each one of these. I need to decide which ones I want to keep, which ones I want to change, which ones I want to ditch. I've decided to include, for those of you who are wondering what the heck is going on, I've decided to include the chance of turning into a gibbering mouther. It is one of those things where the wizard is like, you know, traditionally, like, where do the gibbering mouthers come from? It's because wizards did something stupid with magic. They failed something terribly. I'm going to put that as the, if you roll 2 1s, you're going to wind up as a gibbering mouther. Brutal. Isn't that brutal? Isn't that like horrible? I turned your wizard into a gibbering mouther. I think it would be hilarious. I know my group will laugh their fucking head off. And then they'll kill it and try to reincarnate it as something else. I know that's what's going to happen. It has always be the first thing that my group will do is, oh, the wizard got turned into a gibbering mouther. Laugh, 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 laugh. Kill the gibbering mouther if they can. Once they kill the gibbering mouther, reincarnate it as something else. I was like, okay. True humiliation. I don't know how that will play in your group, but that's, I know what my guys would do. Into a Nothic, that's actually not a bad idea. Let's put those outliers on both ends, because both are quite extreme. Because she's got here the horror. You scream uncontrollably for 3 rounds in Primordial, drawing lots of attention. Which I think is amusing, but yeah. Let's go with horror. Let's mark this as horror. Horror. Outliers. How often is this likely to come up? Does anybody remember the percentage chance for rolling 2 1s and 2 6s? It doesn't happen very often, right? So, God. Yeah, in the middle of a live stream, I'm not going to be able to figure it out. Okay, let's do this. Maybe that's too much. Actually, I feel like maybe that's too much. Let's go with either one. I think that's a better idea. Let's not go. Not. I don't want to have 2 options for that. That's too ghastly. Okay, let's have a look at this. Let's break this down. No explosion. I don't want to call it explosion. I want to call it something else. But disaster. So you take 1d8 damage for every wizard level. That's more like it. So if it goes off and you wind up getting it at level 1, it probably won't kill you, but it will certainly bugger you up pretty badly. So that's one thing. Average damage is 4.5. If you get the worst case scenario, there are 8 points of damage. If you've built your wizard right, you might still be alive. Or you might not. Level 1 will be dangerous. Hilarious, but dangerous. And it's going up. A D8 might be too much. A D6 and you'd still be alive, potentially. But it could kill you. I think we're going to go with a D6. I think a D8 would be just a bit too brutal. And actually, I think that one should probably sit somewhere else. I think that should be down as the 12, because that's ruthless, right? Let's get real. That's pretty horrible as a thing to have happen. So let's take this one. That's a bad one. So we go cut. We'll put it into here. Paste. And this one here is pretty tame, really. And cut. And then we'll put this back over here. I think I should just go through these and then rearrange them. It's probably the better way is to actually rewrite them, rearrange them after that. 2.77 chance for a 2 or a 12. I can live with that, Samuel. I can live with that. That's a pretty bad outcome, but gibbering mouther, Nothic, or a big huge boom, I think that's perfectly fine. 2.77% is good. Yes, I can see that. Maybe, yes, that's not a bad idea too. No, the problem of spell level is Fireball. Fireball is the problem. It's only, the problem is that Fireball is what? Essentially, I guess Fireball is, the problem for Fireball is that you're dealing with something that is a 3rd level spell. It does a lot of damage. It goes off, does it actually mean anything? It actually probably doesn't mean anything. I think a D6 damage per wizard level is probably fine. You should still be alive generally. Okay, all right. But you'll be messed up pretty bad. Okay, horror. I don't know about that one. You target yourself with a spell. Refraction. I don't know. I call it reflection. Reflect. I think let's just call it reflect. You target yourself with a spell. That would be bad. I think that is probably best to actually sit in number 3 rather than where it currently is, but we'll get back to it. I'm going to just highlight this so I remember I need to deal with that one. I haven't done that yet. Your hand slipped. You target a random ally with the spell. That would be pretty bad too. So I don't mind. Friendly fire. Got to have a bit of friendly fire in there, right? Mind wound. Mind wound. You can't cast the spell again for a week. Brutal. Brutal. It's also a whole lot of sodding tracking that I'm not sure that I would want to have to contend with. Do I really want to be able to have to track something for an entire week before I get the spell back? I don't like it very much. What we could do is have a spell where you simply can't get it back. It's lost forever. Does that make sense narratively? It doesn't make sense narratively. That's the problem. One of my characters loved playing Bill's what? Bills with delayed fireball, delayed blast fireball gems. Okay. So Mind Wound, I don't know that I like this quite so much. I'm going to just mark it and I'll come back to it. I don't know that if I like that much. Okay, next. Discorporeation. 1 random piece of equipment. Vaporized. Is that how it's supposed to be spelled? Vaporized? There you go. Vaporized. 1 random piece of your gear is disintegrated forever. Is that disintegrated? Not really. Try that. Fine with that. That's right. Vaporized. There, better. Okay. That's all good. Hello, Chris. How you doing? Nice to have you. Lose spell until completing long or short rest. Well, the problem is that when you lose a spell, you're going to lose it till you perform a rest anyway, and the long rest is the only rest I'm really kind of looking at. So even if you perform, it's basically going to lose it till the next day. So I don't think that's going to be any different to what the consequence is to start off with. So those consequences like that is probably not going to be very, very interesting. Have another thought. Let's throw it in here. Let you guys come up with some terrible ideas for spell failure. What are some interesting spell failure consequences? I'll let you guys come up with some ideas and I'll pick something that's interesting. Shift to another plane of reality. Holy shit. Of course. I like that more. That's much, much better. That's awesome. Spellworm. You lose the ability to cast a random spell on each of your turns until you pass a DC. Oh, blah, 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 blah. No, I don't think so. No, don't like that either. Don't like that either. They're not interesting enough. So let's get rid of this. Let's go. Sorry. Quantum leap. You are transported to a random. Oh, did somebody put down smoke? Something about smoke. Did I lose that? Oh, smoke break. Actually, smoke. Producing smoke everywhere. That's actually quite a good idea. Quantum leap. You are transported to a random planet for 1 day. Poof. I feel, this table's bringing out the bad side of me as a game master. Can I just say that right now? That I can feel it in my body right now. All of the naughty things that I can do to a player character are coming out right now. And the problem is I would potentially be playing this wizard. There's a problem there. Guys, I'm sick. Anyway, let's keep doing this. Harmonic failure. You lose the ability to cast a random spell until you complete a rest. No. Let's... Smoking. Oh, okay. What? No, nothing. I want nothing. Nothing. There is no additional effect. We need to have one where there's no additional effect. Come on. We can't have them all being terrible and horrible. There is no additional effect. Poof. You suppress all light within a near distance. Okay, no. Darkness. Darkness. You extinguish. Extinguish all light Okay, you extinguish all light, including sunlight and magical light. Within a than a 30-foot radius. Sorry, people. The evil dungeon master laugh is coming out. Okay, darkness. You extinguish all light, including sunlight and magical light, within a 30-foot radius. Now, do I need to put a time limit on that? It needs to be something that's easy to adjudicate, doesn't it? Something that's easy to adjudicate. Within 30 feet, within a 30-foot radius for 1 minute. Let's just go with that. 1 minute is usually the space of a battle, and then it's over. That will mess you up pretty good. That's fine. Energy surge. Yes. Let's just call it surge. 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 time, coma. Somebody's put a few things in here. You guys have typed in a few different things. I have to look. Let's see if you guys are coming up with something better. You glow. You glow. I don't know about purple. You glow brightly. You glow brightly for 10 rounds. I don't want to put down rounds. 10 minutes sounds fun though. Sorry. I don't know about granting attack advantage though, but glowing that color would be kind of funny. You're losing your spell. I don't need to double down and make things really miserable for you, but that would be funny. You glow brightly for 10 minutes. Next. Darkness. Okay, I've got 2 I've got to get rid of. What have you guys come up with? What naughty ideas have you come up with? Let's have a look here. I'm drinking my water. Darkness till the end of your next turn. Nah, not long enough. Not long enough. It needs to be a bit longer than that. 1 minute means the whole battle. I prefer the, yeah. I'm not really a fond of darkness till the end of your next turn, Chris. Nice try, though. Coma. You fall into a deep sleep for a certain period of time. That's a funny one. I like that much better. Sleep. Let's do that one. Yeah. Sleep. the spell focus turns into something, eh? Coma. Let's fine. Let's call it coma. Coma. Hello, negative space. How you doing? You fall asleep. You fall. Asleep. You fall asleep for how long? Well, we could take you out of the fight pretty easily by making you fall asleep. You fall asleep for 1 hour unless woken up. So we still want them to be able to come out of that, but suddenly, oh, you fall asleep. I think that's quite hilarious. And that means it gives people the opportunity to wake them up. I don't want to go for an indefinite period of time and there's no way to wake them up. So let's not get too carried away. Of course. Not like Fred isn't already getting carried away as it is. Anyway, let's have a look here. Hark, I spy a new class revision video. Yes, that's right. We are doing the wizard and we're doing spell failure right now. Yeah, YouTube's polls have been shite recently. They've been really, really bad. The polls are just not showing up properly. They're not working properly. They're a pain in the butt. It's really frustrating. It's annoying as. And guess who can't use them? Apparently, most of my subscribers. What a ridiculous problem. I made my own D100 wild magic table. Didn't like the... Yeah, fair enough. I'm looking at 11 options. Roll 2d6. Bell curve. All right, let's have a look at another thing that we can add to this. Fizz pop. You cast fairy fire on yourself. No. Did you know what I would have put in here? Just because it would be funny. Butterflies. You summon a large cloud of Do I have to say what it is? Blue butterflies? No. Could be pink butterflies of coloured butterflies. Shit. Dear. Okay. All right. Let's see how we're going here. Let's unhighlight this one. I need to move things around so that we wind up with everything in the right place. Have I stolen anything from the sorcerer that I shouldn't have? I don't think they create a cloud of butterflies, do they? Do they? Confusion, beards, grease. No. Flumps. That's right. Flower pot. No, nothing too mad. Okay, let's have a look how this all works out in the end. I'm going to move a few things around, as you do. For 6 days, you take a level of exhaustion is actually not a bad idea. I don't know that I want to include exhaustion just because it's kind of like a pain in the butt. So, okay, so average in the middle of this. Really, the weaker effects need to go in one place, which is in the center. Correct? So we really need to be aiming for 6, 7 teleport. That's too powerful for that effect in that area. Disintegrating an object. Okay, so which one do I want to move? Which is the weakest effect? Reflect, coma, nothing. Nothing is a 9. Let's put nothing somewhere else though. So go cut. 6, 7. Vaporizing an item is pretty rough, so we'll put that here. There's nothing. Paste. Okay. All right. Next. Let's go cut this. Put that there. Okay, that's better. Coma is pretty brutal. Butterflies. The butterflies one is not the worst thing under the sun. I would say it can probably go in the 6. So let's take the butterflies. Cut. And put it into 6. Paste. Okay, coma will move. Cut. Let's go here. Paste. Okay, so what else are we doing? We need to move something around. Darkness. What's the next thing that would probably not be that bad? Let's go from the least. Okay, so surge. You grow brightly for 10 minutes. Is that as bad as some of the other ones? Darkness, 10 minutes, 1 minute. Darkness is actually probably not that dramatic, is it? So if we go 6, 7, 8, quantum leap is pretty bad. So let's go with the darkness one for 1 minute. It's only a small problem. Cut. Put that there. Paste it. Okay. Okay, so glowing brightly for 10 minutes. You can probably put that into friendly fire, target yourself. I think targeting yourself is not as bad as suddenly yeah. Friendly fire is much worse. So cut, paste, blowing yourself up, not so bad, but yeah, somebody else, not so good. So we need to take darkness. Butterflies, darkness, quantum leap. Suddenly you wind up on another planet for 1 day. That's pretty bad, isn't it? Cut. I don't know that it's going to sit there though. On another planet is funny, but is it the worst thing under the sun? Probably not. I think going for targeting somebody else with your spell, I think disappearing is probably going to be much worse. Reflect, target yourself is probably better to go there. Cut, paste, friendly fire, cut, paste. All right, I'll check the chat in a second. I'm just trying to push all the stuff around and kind of get a grip of where things should need to be. Okay, next. Darkness is pretty fine where it is. Coma. Vaporizing an item is pretty bad. The coma one, bright light, I think vaporize is much worse. Vaporizing an item that they had, not great. So we'll go cut and plonk that there. Paste. The coma one, fall asleep for 1 hour unless woken up, or for 10 minutes. I think the 10 minutes glowing is going to be worse than falling asleep for an hour because you can be woken up. So it's not as bad. I think that goes there. And then glowing brightly, cut, paste. Okay, let's just have a quick look at how that looks in terms of which things are going to come up the most. In the center, we have nothing, then butterflies are summoned, darkness, extinguishing all light within 30 feet for 1 minute. We have the coma, falling asleep for 1 hour unless you're woken up. We get reflected back onto yourself, as the spell back onto yourself, which is not great. Actually, maybe I need to move that around a little bit too. 1, 2, 3, that's sort of the center. Reflecting onto yourself is pretty bad. The coma one's not so bad. I think this one here is pretty mild in comparison. Yeah, it is pretty mild. Let's take this one. Let's go cut. And then the reflection, I think, needs to go somewhere else. I think that needs to be more of an outlier. Paste. Reflection needs to go somewhere else. Cut. Put it here. Okay. So reflection, vaporize a piece of equipment, disintegrated forever, and it could be anything. So it could be all right. It could be a big problem. Targeting spells. I think that's better in terms of the structure. I think that in terms of I've left the really bad things on the top and the bottom, and the less horrific things are in the center. I think that's not too bad. I think that works. Tit for tat. You guys are having fun coming up with stuff, aren't you? I can see it now. Okay, let's have a look and see what you guys had written down and if I missed anything. Your fart colonic gas for a certain time. Farting is funny, but yeah. You turn your spellcasting focus into a snake. Fizz pop, you cast fairy fire on yourself. Yeah, we've got the coma already. You are charmed as if under the charm spell by the first person or monster you see. When the pole first to show it. I didn't see it. Yes, hark. Got that. Yes. Don't want to use exhaustion. Wag the dog, you grow a tail for 1d6 days. You regain 1 less spell slot during their next long rest. Oh, if you're not using spell slots that they haven't, not using spell slots, no spell slots, groundhog. You get sent back in time 6 hours and have to repeat the day until you succeed on casting spell. Oh, good lord. Once the spell succeeds, I see. I don't know about the spell. I don't want to send them through time if I can help it. Your wife wants dinner? Of course she does. Go take your shower. You can catch up later, man. I'll probably be still here. You never know. Tit for tat, the target receives the opposite of the effect. Damage becomes healing, or healing becomes damage. Advantage becomes disadvantage, etc. Do I want to do that? I've been quite tame with some of the middle things, really. Farts. Biggie smells. Biggie smalls. The target stuff you spell increased by one size category. Interesting. You guys could do anything you like with this. I don't know how this is going to look. I would imagine, I'm going to be honest right now. This table here, for me, is fine. It's fine. It does a couple of different things. Some things are more interesting than others. I mean, you could tailor it however you like. Could be anything under the sun. I'm more curious as to what my players' response is to this, particularly to the number 2 and to number 12. I'm kind of curious as to those. The other ones are not the end of the world. Do you know what I mean? You'll cope. You'll cope. Okay, so that's good. Let's get this moving again. Lots of cool ideas, guys. But we'll keep moving. Your spell book. Now we have a section on spell book here already, and I'm just wondering if I need to just take that and just move that around. I feel like talking about the spell book again here is pointless. So we're going to go cut, shift this, learning spells, casting spells, cantrips. That's that. Casting spells, creating spells, spell casting ability. We've got the table, we need to have that there. It needs to be in this section, that's fine. Ritual casting can be straight underneath there, that's fine too. That's good. Spell casting focus. Here we go, paste. Okay, so the spells that you add to your spellbook as you gain levels reflect the arcane research you conduct on your own, as well as intellectual breakthroughs you have had about the nature of. So this is a lot of stuff. Let's just go here. So you might find other spells during your adventure. You could discover a spell recorded on a scroll in an evil wizard's chest, for example, or in a dusty tome in an ancient library. Okay. So let's be clear about how this can work. Let us go here and undo this bit. The spells that you add to your spellbook as you gain levels reflect the arcane research you conduct on your own, as well as intellectual breakthroughs you have had about the nature of the multiverse. You might find other spells during your adventures. You could discover a spell recorded on a scroll, or in another spell book. Copying spells from one spell book to another, I think, should be a thing. So let's do that. Okay, so let's do this. That's fine. All right, so here we go with the copying stuff. And it's a little bit of stuff to work through, but we'll get there. Copying a spell into a book. When you find a wizard spell of first level, no. We're going to include cantrips. When you find a wizard spell of zero level or higher, you can add it to your spell book. If it is a spell, if it is of a spell level, you can learn, and you can spare the time to decipher and copy it. I think that's fine. I think that's what we want to do. One of the things that used to piss me off as playing wizard is that I could have as many first level spells as I wanted. I could have as many second level spells as I wanted, as long as I found scrolls or some way of copying it into my book. But I could not expand the number of cantrips beyond 6. That's it. And I want people to be able to access more of the cantrips if they would prefer to do so. So let's do that. Let's open it up and say, yes, you can have a lot more. You got to run. Thank you, Samuel. I do appreciate all of your feedback. Thank you very much. Mobile spellbook looks like a smartphone with a spell book app on it. Touch it to another spell book and nice, funny. Copying that spell into your spell book involves reproducing the basic form of the spell, then deciphering the unique system of notation used by the wizard who wrote it. You must practice the spell until you understand the sounds and gestures required, then transcribe it into your spellbook using your own notation. Okay, that's all fine. I don't have a problem with all of that. That's just fluffy stuff. I don't think my players will want me to take that out. I'm not going to worry about rewriting it right now. Maybe I'll rewrite it some of the time, but not now. Okay, so for each level of the spell, the process takes 2 hours and costs 5 gold pieces. The cost represents the material components you expend as you experiment with a spell to master it, as well as the fine inks you need to record it. Once you have spent this time and money, you can prepare, you can once you have spent the time and money, you can cast the learned spell just like your other spells. That's all I need. Now, the cantrip is the problem. If we're going to be scribing a cantrip into our spell book and not just first level and upward spells, we need to have a time frame and a cost. Cantrips or 0 level spells take 1 hour and and cost 25 gold pieces. So we've covered that. So that'll be a question somebody's going to ask. I need to know what that is. So we've done that. We've covered the cantrip and adding them to your book. Right, move that up. Okay, next, replacing the book. Hello, Pale Rider. How you doing? What do you got here? Bring it on. Can you cast ritual spells faster by dancing? Did you say by dancing? If you dance the spell out. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, replace the spell book. You can copy a spell from your own spell book to another book. Um, for example, if you want to make a backup copy of your spellbook, this is just like copying a new spell into your spellbook, but faster and easier since you understand your own notation and already know how to cast the spell. You need to spend only 1 hour and 10 gold pieces for each level of the copied spell. Okay, that's fine. I actually have no problem with that. We can unhighlight that as well. Put that there. Okay, so you can copy the spell from. It's a big wall of text. It's going to be a bit of a hard thing to read. Okay, maybe I should separate it with spaces. To break it up a little bit. Okay, all right. Now we have to contend with the fact that it is going to be more difficult, less difficult. Okay. Cantrips. So cantrips, what's the word? What do I want to put in here? Cantrips require only 30 minutes and 1 gold piece to copy the spell. Okay, that's fine. What do you got here, Pale Rider? If you harvest a wizard's brain and introduce the paper making process, the spells the wizard had. Okay, all right. I see what you're saying there. It's amusing. If you harvest the wizard's brain and introduce it into the paper making process, the spells the wizard has memorized at the time of his death will appear on the paper. No, okay, all right, you're having a good time, I can see. If you lose your spellbook, you can use the same procedure to transcribe the spells that you have prepared into a spellbook. Okay. No. No, if you lose your spellbook, now this is where it's going to get interesting. Have I taken into consideration that we're not using spell slots, not using prepared spells? Am I ballsing things up? Okay, so I think what we do is, if you lose your spellbook, you can use the same procedure to transcribe the spells that you have learned into the new spellbook, filling out the remainder of the spellbook requires you to find new spells to do so. Okay, right. No, we're going to get rid of that. Advancing magic is not my favourite thing. So as long as you have learned the spell, and you can make a new spell book from there. Okay. The question is, why would you have the spell book in the first place? I guess that's the question that people are going to be sort of like, well, hang on, what's the deal there? I'm not entirely sure. It's not coming to me clearly. For this reason, many wizards keep backup spell books in a safe place. The book's appearance. The book is a unique compilation of spells with its own decorative flourishes and margin notes. It might be a plain fictional leather volume you received as a gift from your master, or a finely bound gilt-edged tome that you found in an ancient library, or even a loose collection of notes scrolled together after you lose your previous spellbook in a mishap. Okay. So this is where I guess my problem lies, is if that is the case and you learn a spell, it's in your book, it's when you lose the spell. The reason you need the spell book is so that you can relearn new spells when you lose them. When you cast it and you fail and you have to relearn it, you can do so. So here we go. If you lose your spellbook, you can use the same procedure to transcribe the spells that you have learned into a new spellbook. So any spells that were lost due to spell casting failure are no longer in your memory, and you must find a scroll or spell book with any spells that were lost due to spellcasting failure are no longer in your memory, and you must find a scroll or spell book. Okay, any spells that were lost due to spellcasting failure are no longer in your memory and can't be transcribed into your new spell book. For this reason, many wizards keep backup spellbooks in a safe place. So that's what I need to say. Okay, that's a bit clearer. If you have spell tattooed on you with God, what do you got here? If you have tattoos, if you have spells tattooed on you with ink mixed with dragons and some other creatures' blood, you can concentrate on that spell instead of reading it for the same period of time to replace it. Everybody keeps going back to tattoos and spell casting, which I kind of feel like there's a theme going on here. There's a theme. It's clear to me somebody wants something going on. You're saying that spellcasters should have tattoos. I do get the distinct feeling that is the approach. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. I think that is spelled out everything that's going on here. It's pretty clear what's going on. It's a different system. It works a little bit differently to what you're used to. So we can move on from there. So that's good. All right, the Mage Tower Permit. Now that's an interesting one. So beginning at 10th level, your character is granted a section of land with peasants to protect, the rights to build a stronghold. Now, it's not so much a stronghold, but more of a temple. No, not temple. It is more rights to build or have a castle or tower or mage tower by the local or or magical leaders. So yes, so mage tower, castle. So we need to do a little bit of adjustment with this one. The player negotiates with the game master the size of the castle. No, they don't. There is no. You're going to get one size, I think, fits all. Well, actually, do I want to do one size or just... No, I don't think. It's going to be small castle and mage tower. I think we're going to give them that. Mage tower. No, maybe not. Maybe we'll give them a couple of options. Yeah, we can give them at least, let's give them 3 options. So go here, cut. Mage tower. Paste. Okay, fortified tower, castle keep, all castle. Let's go there, cut. Small castle or mage tower. Okay. Full stop. Okay, that's better. That's where I wanted to be. Took me a little while. Palladium had a tattoo. I'm not wrong. To warrior with the magical rights. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. I suspect that, as I said, first draft. Let's work on the first draft and then go from there. Okay, so fortified tower, first option. Castle keep is basically just a fortified tower. Temple needs to come off. Monastery needs to come off. I don't think any of these would be appropriate for them. So we're going to take that away. Is that going to be right? I'm pretty sure it would be. I'm pretty sure it would be. So let's go like that. Okay. So we've got that one as our first one. You can have this one, and then we need to add in a third one, which is the mage tower. A mage tower takes, okay. So we need to determine the maths behind the tower and how long that takes. So we'll go copy, paste. These are all, that's all fine now. Highlight, unhighlight. Okay, better. I think that's got it. Okay, so the character has peasants that live on their land who generate tax income for the castle or mage tower. Otherwise, the wizard. Otherwise, the wizard relies on donations. No, relies on Otherwise, the wizard relies on fees, fee services provided. Otherwise, the wizard relies on fee services provided to anyone seeking magical information and on spell casting and spell casting. Otherwise, the wizard relies on fee services provided to anyone seeking magical information and spell casting. That's fine. Okay, calculation is 20 plus 1d10 percentage. So we're going to do this a little bit different. I think for them we're going to go a little bit lower. Calculate net profit per month earned from a... Now we want to go, where do I want to go with this? Well, for a castle keep, okay, a castle or fortified tower is 20 plus 1d10% of the monthly maintenance cost. That's fine, but the costs, I guess the we need to do a different calculation for a mage tower though. I think it's not going to be as much. I think it's going to be a lot less. So calculate the net monthly earnings from a mage tower is not going to be that calculation. The character must protect the peasants on their land or lose the title, land deed, castle. Fortified tower or mage tower. Okay. Mage towers take so much time to build. They are vulnerable to other factions and need to be protected during the construction process. Okay, so now I need a different calculation for this, and I know I've done this already, so I've got notes somewhere. And then I have to figure out the tower itself. All right, lozenge time. Bear with me, people. It's getting really hot. I got to open the door. I'm melting in here. I'm gonna pass out otherwise. Oh, it's not enough. Oh, that's better. Okay, sorry about that. It was getting so warm in here, I was wondering why I was having trouble. Now the front door's open, my office door's open, so the wind is blowing through. Okay, so now that I've done this, I need to work out what's the magic tower. Where's my magic tower notes? I'm sure I had notes for it. Everyone's Guide to Mage Towers in D&D 5e. Oh, I did that recently. That's not actually that long ago. And then I've got this here too. And I probably have that all condensed. Is it all condensed? Building a mage tower. Well, I can't go crazy. I can't go crazy. And we need to make sure that I get most of this correct. So, okay, so, what was our percentage? It was 10 plus 1d6. That's right. I had changed the profit margins for that one. So that's 10. That is for the mage tower, plus 1d6%. So it's a little bit less. But there are benefits to having a tower, so mage tower. So let's keep looking at that. Let's have a look back to there. It's how long? So it's actually the same period of time. Time days is fine. 15. Materials and labor, which means the maintenance cost is the same. The requirement in terms of people in it is not going to be the same, though. A mage tower is a very different kettle of fish, isn't it? Okay. Let me have a think. Let's have a look. Let's pump this up a bit. So, 15 has 2 or 3 floors. So that's the area. So 2 or 3 floors. Okay. The mage tower has 2 or 3 floors that can be expanded. Okay, so I've done that. All right, what's next? So I had dropped down the maintenance cost as $750, isn't it? Okay, $750. So a little cheaper. $750 a month. 750. That's correct. What else? 25 per day. I don't know that there's much point putting in the day figure, because the day figure is monthly is going to be easier to adjudicate and track, so not going to do that. 10 skilled individuals. Okay. So we're dealing with 10 skilled individuals. And we have guards, apprentices, spellcasters. So, right, so that's what I needed to do. Okay, I forgot about this. 10. That is the castle. This is this one here. So 10 skilled. So a lot less. Okay. All right. So Mage Tower takes 100 days. Building cost 15,000 gold pieces and materials and labor. Maintenance cost 750 GP per month. Requires 10 skilled hirelings to operate. The Mage Tower has 2 or 3 floors that can be expanded. Okay. So one of the benefits is fewer individuals. You don't get as much money off it. But do I need to add anything else in here? I think I do. Otherwise, the Mage Tower just seems like another building, doesn't it? And that is probably our biggest problem for our Mage Tower, in that It is just not. It's just not really very interesting as a place that you could have, unless we can do something else with it. So I need to do that, don't I? If I don't, why would you just not just have a castle keep or a fortified tower? The mage tower is just another version of that, really. So it's not doing anything particularly special right now. I'm going to go take a break. I'm going to be back in about 5 minutes, use the toilet, and bump that in. Okay. All right. Coming back, I think what we need to do with the mage tower is we need to actually distinguish it from the fortified tower. So I have to do something to it that upgrades it in some way. Because right now, as it just looks like a low-level fortified tower with just a different name. Or a fortified tower with just a different name. It's nothing else. So I actually need to do something to it. So we're going to add a thing to it that's already in place. Something that we can achieve. In a reasonable time span, but also give you something interesting. So building on different abilities for this. I believe I had a whole bunch of notes on how to do this. Upgrading. Let's upgrade the mage tower to one of the more basic concepts that you would normally have. So if I get a piece of paper and I grab that. So let's just make sure that our tower has a few things. Workshop. So 10 more days, and it's going to cost us another 1,000 GP. Let's do that. Let's also give it the study, which is also going to be another 1,000 GP and 10 more days. Let's give it a laboratory, which is another 10,000 GP. Another 1,000 GP, should I say, not 10,000. Another 10 days. Okay, let's build that straight into it now. Let's include a library for library. So with a library, that would be 10,000 GP and 10 days. That's adding that on as well. And then now let's have a look. You're getting this at level 10. You can install it. The teleportation circle is your biggest problem, because the teleportation circle, I'm pretty sure, has a requirement as part of the spell already. So let's just have a quick look, make sure I get this right. Teleport, where are you? Okay. You can create a permanent teleportation circle by casting the spell in the same location every day for 1 year. So we're not going to give it the teleportation circle because it would the time frame is too long. I don't want to extend it that much. So we won't do that. They will have to invest in doing that if they want to. Okay. Extra dimensional space. Not going to do that quite yet. Making the tower fly, no. Mobility, no. Disguise, hide it. I think we leave that alone. Making it invisible is a big thing. Blocking physical, magical, transdimensional, forbidden spell. Okay, now putting the forbidden spell in there is certainly a thing that would make a lot of sense, but it's 30 days of 30 days of downtime. I'm not sure that we need to do that just yet. You get access at level 11 to that, so I will leave that alone. The non-detection spell is a level 5 spell. I'll leave that alone. Mind blank, I'll leave that alone. Construction, I think what we will do is, we'll add in these things, we'll add in the price, we'll make it a bit more expensive. The mage tower includes a basic workshop, study, laboratory, and library. Okay. Okay, so we need to add in a few more costs here. So that's another 40 days. So it'll be 140. Extra cost. Another 4,000. So we go 19,000 GP. We'll leave the maintenance cost where it is. I think that'll be fine. Okay, so I'm gonna say it now. I am not too sure how to structure something like a mage tower for a wizard without adding levels of complexity and complication that a game master may not want, or I might not want straight away. So I suspect that I will wind up changing this section later on. I think it's more than likely going to wind up being altered at some point. I just don't want to make the mage tower so expensive and so out of reach that it's not an option. I'm not sure that it does enough, because obviously it provides an income for you, but is it actually doing what it needs to do? I'm not honestly sure. I couldn't answer that question right now. But I'm going to leave it as it is for now, because it's done. And then I'm going to deal with some of the other things that need to be sorted out. Spell permanency is one of them. And there's a couple other features that we were discussing that we might want to add into here. And I think the wizard at that point is mostly done. So let's go scrolling up all the way to the top to where the table is. Here we go. All right. Spell mastery, permanency. What do? It's not permanency though, is it? Try that. Okay. Spell permanency. I've got an idea of how to solve spell permanency. You may or may not like what I have intended, but I think there's only one way to do it, ultimately. Okay, so next, let's have a look at some of the things that we would like to add in here. Mage Tower Permit. Okay, we've got those other things sorted. There's no question marks on those. That's fine, that's fine. Level 9, level 11, level 13. Do I really need to put anything in here? Level 15. Okay. So I guess this is where I have to make a decision about what it is we want to try to achieve. So let's have a look at my notes again, right down the bottom. Reversing spells. I like the idea of reversing spells. I think we're definitely going to be including permanency as a thing, but it's going to have a lot of restrictions. I'm going to have to make a list of the spells that you can use. The Wizard Mishap table, we've made it. We've removed Vancian magic. I don't know if the wizard is still too complex. Maybe it is. I've tried to... Have I down-powered it? I don't know about that. I'm not really convinced that I have done that. Actually, I might leave that alone. Let's leave that alone. Familiar. Somebody was mentioning that the wizard needs to have a familiar. Rather than having to cast Find Familiar all the time, having a familiar for your wizard would be kind of cool. I think it would be a nice addition, a nice feature. So how do we structure this? Find Familiar. Let's find the spell first and start with that. Find Familiar. Find Familiar. It is a level 1 spell. Casting time of 1 hour. Where's a good point to put it? If I were to use Familiar. Wizard Familiar. If we made a feature called Wizard Familiar, where would you put it? That's the question. All right, let's have a look at that table again. Okay. Level 9. Level 11. No. No, I don't think it needs to go there. Level 9. It could go there. You might have to suffer. Until level 9, you might have to wait before you get your familiar full blown. So, Wizard Familiar. Let's put it at level 9. There's a space there. Let's write up a feature for Wizard Familiar at level 9. At level 9, your access to spells looks like what? Well, you got level 5 spells and upward. Well, let's eliminate. Yeah, let's definitely eliminate the idea that you have to worry about Find Familiar as an actual feature at level 9. Copy. Let's go down, 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 down. I don't really want... Do you know, it's a pest. I always find Familiar as a spell to be a pain in the ass because they get destroyed so often, you know, or they get forgotten. Like, how many people have forgotten their familiar? I had a familiar. What did you do with it? Well, you didn't do anything with it, did you? Because you forgot that it even existed. So here we go. Paste. Find Familiar. And we will here. And I need to put in a feature that's sort of around that. Need a drink of water. Getting dry again. Oh, run out of water again. Man, I'm drinking so much. It's been so warm. So warm today. And I have an hour left, and then I've got a meeting in about an hour. I've got to go and talk to Wally DM about the Game Master Roundtable, so I have to kind of... got to get my act into gear, don't I? Otherwise, I'm not going to get it finished. Well, at least the first draft should, let's say, first draft. Okay. All right, so what's the best way to write this? So at ninth level, your character bold, underline, now this could be done very lazily, and I don't and I don't want it to be a lazy thing, but my general feeling is that find familiar let's engage the spell and then wrap some stuff around it so that we can eliminate some of the hassles that you might have. At ninth level, your character gains a permanent familiar. Of your choice. A choice. Okay. At ninth level, your character gains a permanent familiar of your choice from the list provided. I better do that. Provided. So the familiar oh, what are we saying here? Brain, come on, work. The familiar takes 1 hour to summon. Hour to create. Say create. Let's create it. To create and requires 100 10 gold pieces worth of materials to the familiar takes 1 hour to create and requires 10 gold pieces worth of materials. That's it. Let's do that. Let's go with now. Spider familiar that hides in your ear. It might well be. I always feel like there's a spider crawling around in my ear, actually, as it happens. The familiar takes 1 hour to create and requires 10 gold pieces worth of materials. You can see and hear anything the familiar can see in here anything the familiar can. Okay. You can see in here anything the familiar can. While your familiar is active, you have a telepathic bond with no range limit. Okay. While your familiar is active, you have a telepathic bond with no range limit. What else do I need to put in here? 9th level, get a familiar, makes a first level permanent. Well, what I'm essentially doing is giving you find familiar as a permanent thing at 9th level rather than at 17th level. I'm going to make that just permanent. So let's just keep working with this. What else do I need to say here? We need to stipulate what you can have as a familiar. Select one of the following. Come on, fly, go away, go away. Jeez, big bugger. Oh, this is going to annoy me so much. It's gone. Okay. Okay. Select one of the following animals as your familiar. Right, let's do this list. So they have got here bat, fine. Cat, sure. Crab, sure. Don't know why you wouldn't want a crab, but sure. A frog, toad, bracket, toad. Toadies, there we go, toadies. Got a toad. Hawk, fine. What else? Hawk. Lizard. Got a lizard, fine. Octopus. Octopus. Did I put that right? Octopus. Oh, okay, cool. Octopus. L. Everybody wants to blame the L. A snake. I'm just going to put snake. Fish. Rat. Raven. Seahorse. Okay, I guess. Yeah, seahorse. Spider. Of course, everybody wants a spider. Or weasel. I don't know if I want to stop there, though. Or weasel. There's something missing, people. There's something missing. I feel like there should be something else. And I don't have it in front of me, so I should grab it. You're probably thinking, why not an imp? I'm not doing it for a wizard. Hang on. Where is it? Come on. There we go. It's the book I want. Okay, another book. I made a small snake constrict for my small snake constrictor for my familiar. It posed as jewelry, either as an armband or necklace. That's funny. Okay, all right. Let's see. Let's get rid of this. Move that out of the way. And then what I want is, what's it called? It's called H. Is this going to be too much? Maybe I'm selecting something that I shouldn't. No. Yes. We're going to give them a homunculus, people. For those of you who remember the Golden Voyages of Sinbad, I remember the Golden Voyages of Sinbad, and I would like to have a homunculus if I want one. So we're going to add a homunculus. I wish we could add an ooze as well, actually. Homunculus. Homunculus. Should I do that? Should I add an ooze? Have a pet ooze? Okay. What ooze could we have without getting silly? I'm already getting silly. Hell, could we have the problem with a pixie? Pixies are dangerous. Pixies are really, God blimey, they're dangerous little suckers. Those are. All right, let's have a look. Let's think about this. I want to add something else, something that's small and interesting. It is really tempting to give them an ooze, but so many of the oozes are already quite large, medium, large. Black pudding seems like a bad idea. What's the least of the more offensive ones? Small grey ooze. I don't know about this. This is maybe getting a bit too silly, but let's keep going. Let's go down this train wreck. Now, what's the other thing? I was thinking pixie. The problem with a pixie is they're just so powerful. You'd be able to mess the heck up. Look, if you had a choice between everything else and a pixie, you're going to go with the pixie every single time. It's a no-brainer. So it can't be pixie. But can we get away with something else that's kind of like that? I would like to be able to include something. What about the sprite? How nasty is the sprite? I honestly don't remember. Sprite. It's a challenge rating quarter. It's got a long sword, a short sword, heart, sight, invisibility. The sprite magically turns invisible until it attacks or casts a spell. Does it cast spells? It doesn't cast spells. We could probably give it a sprite. Yellow mold. I can't give it a yellow mold. What about a what's another way of doing this? Well, none of their attacks are that bad. The heart sight, the spirit touches a creature and magically knows the creature's image. And it's invisible. No, we'll give them a sprite. Or sprite. But not a pixie. Pixies are Pixies are like dangerous things. Danger, Will Robinson. It's tempting to give them a Sturge, but I feel like a Sturge would be a Warlock thing. So we won't give them that. Okay. Okay, so... that was an interesting process. While your familiar is active, you have a telepathic bond with no range limit. Select one of the following animals as your familiar: bat, cat, homunculus, or sprite. Am I missing anything? I feel like that's pretty good. I think that's done. Let's move on to our next problem. Now, we were talking about reversing spells, weren't we? We would like, would it be cool if we could reverse the effect of a spell? Now, maybe we make that a wizard feature. So let's take reverse spell and go cut. And let's see if we can make reverse spell a feature. Now, when would be a good time to do it? Reverse spell. 10th level, 13th level, 15th level. I actually think that a level 11 is probably fine. Let's put that there. Let's put it there. Right smack there. No shadow demons. You like the idea of that? Okay, cool. All right, so let's do this. Oops. Reverse spell. Okay, so that's our feature, level 11. Copy. And what am I missing? Am I missing anything from this that I should have here? Level 11. Level 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 9. Tower 11. It's going to fit right in here. Right there. Okay, so let's go with bold underline. At level 11, at at 11th level, the wizard can reverse the effect of a spell they cast. Okay, all right. Familiar horse. Yeah, it would be a tiny horse. Make it a little tiny horse. I don't think I'm going to make it a full-blown horse. I don't really want to do that. Okay, so if I remember right, the explanation in Beck Me about reversing spells is pretty good and how it can be done. So, all right, so let's have a look here. Magic, casting spells. Here we go, reversing spells. Some spells can be cast reversed, meaning they have, right, so we don't want to do that. We don't have to change the tags. I don't want to do any of that. Okay. Okay, so can reverse the effect of a spell they cast. If a spell does damage, it now can be used to heal injuries. All right, so that's so we're going to reverse those. Now we've got to be careful that we don't wind up screwing up the cleric. Don't really want to wind up with heavy damage dealing spells suddenly being used to do lots of healing. There's a problem right there. Okay. Actually might be better to say that damage dealing actually, if you think about it, suddenly fireball gets dropped and everybody gets healed. That's really what's going to wind up happening. So that can't be allowed to happen. If a spell does damage, it cannot be reversed. If a spell does damage, it cannot be reversed. So let's eliminate the damage dealing spells. Can't reverse those. Okay. What we want to do is reverse magical effects rather than damage dealing. Otherwise, suddenly you've just got all this healing magic, which would be too much. What we really want to do is be able to reverse other things. So let's have a look. It's going to be around the effect. When a wizard casts a spell, they can choose to choose to alter or reverse the effect of a spell with the opposite effect. So I need to give an example, don't I? So what would be I just find a simple spell where you commonly come across. Okay, when a wizard casts a spell, they can choose to alter or reverse the effect of a spell with the opposite effect. So let's go here. Let's get this out of the way. Let's find a spell that would be appropriate that I can use. It's not going to be that. Get this out of the way. Move that a little bit more. What would be a reverse? A good one to reverse. Reverse. What can we reverse as an example? For example, let's find one. What is a common thing that people will try to reverse? Well, light would be ending. Break, mage hand. Okay. I need to put in another line here. Not all spells make sense to reverse, and this is determined by the game master. Okay. Makes sense to reverse, and this is determined by the game master. So we are doing that. Yes, they could guide them back to their body when they're astral traveling, if they were astral traveling, I guess. The wizard can make a familiar vacate its body, so the wizard's soul may take over the familiar body. An emergency. I'm not going to go that far. Maybe that'll wind up looking like that eventually, but I think we're going to leave that alone. I think we'll leave that alone. I know there are some stories, there's fiction that sort of has precedence for that, but right now I think we won't go that far into it. I probably need to mention what happens to the familiar if it dies. Did I say that? I didn't say anything about that, did I? I should have just whipped back over there. Find familiar. So, if the familiar dies, its spirit can be summoned. Summoned by performing a 1 hour ritual that requires no material cost. So yeah, okay, I think I've got that covered there. let's go back here. I was working on reverse spell. And I need an example. Light could be one. Minor illusion, I don't know how you do that. Prestidigitation, not sure how you go about doing that. True strike. Alarm. Comprehend languages, detect magic. Identify. I'm really not too sure how that would look. Reversing a spell might actually cause a whole bunch of problems I hadn't even considered. Yeah. That might actually be more difficult than it's... Well, I guess stone to flesh, flesh to stone is a good example, isn't it? Is that the example they use? Knock, entangle, sleep, speak with monsters, restore, speak with dead, continual flame. What's their example here? For example, cast reverse. No. Magic users can master spells, reversing the order, using them reversed. Okay. That's not helping me. That's not helping me. 1 hour disco ritual lights. God, okay. For example, the light cantrip can be used to create darkness. What's another example of this? What else we got? What else? Curse. Remove curse. Dispel magic. Fireball. Fly. Blink. Scorching ray. See invisibility. Shatter. Suggestion. Rope trick. Misty step. No. Whole person invisibility. Okay. No, I think that'll be fine. I don't know if that's going to be enough of an example. I don't know what the equivalent would be. Flesh to stone. Light. Okay, for example, the light cantrip can be used to create darkness, or the flesh to stone spell. Flesh to stone, level 6. Let's see if I can find that. Flesh to stone. Flesh, where are you? Flesh to stone, here we go. You can attempt to turn one creature you can see within range into stone. If the target's body is made of flesh, the creature must make a constitution save on a single. Yes, success, yes. Creature restrained in the spell must make another constitution save throw in its turn. Success, the saves against the spell 3 times, the spell ends. If it fails, it save 3 times, it is turned to stone. Success and failure. Yes. If the creature is broken, petrified. Okay, so here we go. So here we go. So for example, the light cantrip can be used to create darkness, or the flesh to stone spell can turn a petrified or can turn a petrified creature or statue back to a living flesh form. Does that make sense? Yeah, I am tired. I'm running out of juice, and I'm going to have to take a rest very shortly and go and talk to Wally DM. But I think what I will do before I run off is, because I feel like I'm mostly done. I don't really want to put too many features in for a wizard, because I think that's kind of crazy. I want to do the spell permanency though. I really want to put the spell permanency in there. And I think that the only way that it can work is for it to be around, stipulating what spells you can use and make permanent. Because if we don't do that, it's going to be a problem. I think ultimately, instead of setting restrictions in terms of level and reaction and stuff like that, I don't think any of that will work. I think what they did with 3.5 was the smart move, which was to make, there are certain spells you can make permanent and certain spells you cannot make permanent. And I think as a wizard, we need to be very careful about opening up the floodgates to that. So I think the best way to deal with that is to go back to permanency and then list off the spells that you can make permanent and have some requirements for how that can be done. And that's how it should be set up. So here we go. At 7th level, you have achieved such mastery over you have achieved such mastery. You have achieved mastery over certain spells. You can make a spell effect permanent if you cast the same spell repeatedly over a number of days. Okay. Damage dealing spells. No, forget about this. Forget about this. I think that just doesn't even apply. Okay, so for every spell level, you must cast the same spell 30 days. Okay, for every spell level, you must cast the same spell 30 days. Cast the same spell for 30 days to make it permanent. Okay, for every spell level you must cast the same spell for 30 days to make it permanent. I think that says it. For every spell level you must cast the same spell for 30 days to make it permanent. Okay, so that's that bit. It takes 15 days to make a cantrip. We are not going to be making... it takes 15 days of casting a cantrip repeatedly to make the spell effect permanent. So, let's go here. Damage dealing spells, cantrips can't be made permanent. Let's put that in. Okay, so the following spells that aren't cantrips can be made permanent. Cantrips. Okay, the following spells that aren't cantrips can be made permanent. So I'm just going to list them off. I think that's the best way. Beck Me First, if you remember right, had pretty strict good rules for permanency, yeah. Well, there's very specific stuff for Beck Me. And I honestly do not remember the rules for first ed edition. So I'm going to just go through and list off a whole bunch of spells that I think you can make permanent, and the ones that you can't make permanent will never come up because it will be dispelled out. I think that's the only way to deal with this. Otherwise, it's going to be too exploitive. It'll get exploited, it'll ruin the game, and somebody will get pissed off. So let's have a look here first. This is a level 17 feature, so it's, let's go with Arcane Eye. Arcane Eye. Arcane Eye is a level, I can't remember what it is. Let me go over here. Here we go. Arcane Eye is level, is it level 4? Yeah, Arcane Eye. I'm alright with Arcane Eye, that's fine. Comprehend languages would be fine. So you could make that permanent. Comprehend languages wouldn't be broken to have that as a permanent spell. Dark vision won't matter very much in this game, but if you've got somebody who hasn't got dark vision, you could make it permanent. Dark vision's not a particularly high level spell anyway. What is dark vision currently? Is it second level? Dark vision. Dark vision second level. So yeah, you could make dark vision permanent. You could make comprehend languages permanent. Detect magic, probably detect magic. I'm actually fine with that. I don't think that's bad. I'm actually reading off the stuff from 3.5, if you're wondering. See invisibility is always going to be something that people want. Read magic, I don't know about that. I'm kind of wondering about that one. Tongues is fine too, actually. So let's put tongues. See invisibility. See invisibility. There's no such thing as read magic. So you might want to say whether it can be permanent on an object or person. Yes, that's probably true. Yes, so let's say you have achieved mastery over certain spells. You can make a spell effect permanent if you cast the same spell repeatedly over a number of days. Damage dealing spells or cantrips cannot be made permanent. Spells can a person or object can have a permanent magical effect cast onto them. Yep, good point. Permanent magical effects can be removed completely with the dispel magic spell. Yeah, okay, all right, so I need to add in a few more spells here. What else is there? Enlarge person. Shit. Do I? Yeah, okay. Enlarge. Enlarge person. Enlarge reduce. I think it's called enlarge reduce now, isn't it? Is it called enlarge reduce? Enlarge reduce. Enlarge reduce. What is enlarge reduce? Maybe it's not something they get anymore. Expeditious retreat. Enlarge reduce. No. Enlarge reduce. No, we'll leave enlarge reduce off the list, I guess. It doesn't look like it's even a wizard spell. Enlarge reduce doesn't look like it's even there. So we'll leave that alone. Don't need to worry about that one. So forget about enlarge reduce. What else? Magic Fang. No, magic no. No, no, no. Raise telepathic bond. Do I want to be able to make telepathy permanent? Do they even get it? Tongues is fine. I don't even think they get telepathic bond. Telepathy is a level 8 spell. No, I don't think so. We'll leave that alone. And it's too high a level. Resistance, no. Alarm. Alarm's actually not a bad one. Let's get rid of this one here, though. This is no good. This isn't going to work. I would say cantrips can be made permanent. Yeah, I've included yeah, you can make cantrips permanent. It's just I'm not worried about any of the cantrips at all. Not even remotely worried about them. Okay. Alarm is fine. Animate objects, I'm actually fine with that. Animate objects, that's fine. Dancing lights is a cantrip, don't worry about it. Ghost sound. Ghost sound? Ghost sound? I don't know. I don't think even there is a ghost sound anymore. Ghost sound, gust of wind, ghost sound, dancing lights. No, it's a cantrip, don't worry about mentioning that one. What else? Gust of wind. Okay. I'll go with it. They've got it here. It's a high level spell. Not really that high level spell, actually. It's a pretty low level spell. Gust of wind. Gust of wind. Gust of wind. Alright. And what else is there? No, I don't think so. Oh, actually, it's tempting. I'm really tempted to add in Mordenkainen's Private Sanctum. It is actually here. It would be fun to be able to make it permanent, but Mordenkainen's Private Sanctum is still a really high level spell, isn't it? Private Sanctum is level 4. Well, no, let's make it here. Mordenkainen, where are you? See Mordenkainen. Kainen's Private Sanctum. Might take you a little while, but you get there. What else? Phase Door, I don't think so. That's basically Dimension Door. Do I really want them to be able to have Dimension Door permanent? Dimension Door. Let's do it. My players, if it's broken, they're gonna find it real fast. They'll figure it out. Solid fog cloud. Let's add in fog cloud as well. No, let's put it here. Fog cloud. Okay. What else? I don't know about stinking cloud, symbol, wall of fire, teleportation circle. Yeah, okay. Well, that's already got that. Web. And web. Full stop. Tongues, web. Wall of force, wall of fire. We'll add those. Fire. Is there a spell called symbol still? I don't know. Does anybody remember if symbol is actually a spell anymore? I don't know that it is it? Symbol. Symbol. I'm almost out of time. I just got to get out of here. Don't be late for it. Symbol. Level 7. Nah, we're leaving that alone. Not a chance. Not going to do it. Stinking cloud, I think not. That would be way too much. So I think that's our list. It's not every single spell that you can make permanent, but there's a good bunch of them you can do. It would make a fairly decent level 17 feature for a wizard without really making them busted as hell. It's still going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of money to make these things happen, because some of these things will have components you have to buy materials for that will be used up. Not always, but I think that's fine as a feature. I think that'll be all right. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's have a really quick look at here. We have wizard, first draft. Don't have titles, deal with that later on. We've got our features. We are going to leave 2 levels, level 13 and level 15 with big huge space. I don't think I'm going to put anything here. If I come up with anything, then maybe it will, but we'll see. I think it's fine as it is. We have our spells that we can learn, that we know. There's nothing else to say about that. Hit points are pretty much the same. Proficiencies are done. We've got ourselves 1 skill. Choose 3. Few more extra weapons we can use. We've got our own wizard kit. We get to pick whatever weapon we want this time, which is good. Spell casting is covered. We've got that. Cantrips, we get to pick a bunch of them. We can learn new spells. We've got spell casting and how it works. Spell casting failure, our spell casting ability and how that works as well. We've got our wizard spell casting failure table for when things get interesting, when you stuff things up. We've got no more attack rolls or saving throws for the wizard to worry about. They're just making a spell casting check. We've got ritual spells, spell casting focus, spell book, and all the information around that, which means you can actually learn cantrips, not just level 1 spells and upward. So that's all there. Arcane knowledge basically means that when you make an arcana knowledge or an intelligence check around magical stuff, that you're going to be better at doing it. You don't have to worry about rolling dice. Arcane tradition, that's basically what we're dealing with here. Mage guild, basically you get a whole lot of stuff. Level 3 and level 8. Ability scores are staying the same, and the feats, if you want to use feats, is still there. Arcane recovery, you get to regain 1 spell if you spend 30 minutes studying your book, your spell book, to get back a spell, and that's fine. I think that's all going to work fine. That's all good. Wizard followers, you get an apprentice, then at level 10, so level 6 apprentice, level 10 unseen servants, level 15 you're going to get some magic users, d6 of them. Okay, arcane specialization plus 1 bonus to attack rolls, saving throws and spell casting checks for those of you who wind up with having to deal with that, so that's fine. Keep going. Now, spell saving throws. Yes, that'll still apply for now anyway. Wizard familiar, so you get a familiar at level 9, and we've got a few choices. We have a mage tower permit, so you can have a fortified tower, castle keep, small castle, or you can have the mage tower itself. It makes you some money. Reversing spells, we've got that there for reversing spells if you want to try to do that. Mage Traveller, you get a vehicle. Portal Pilgrim is basically the ability to make a portal for creatures or a vehicle, colossal size if you want to. Spell Permanency, we've got a section around Spell Permanency. I'm feeling much better about Spell Permanency now at level 17. I think it was the smart thing to just look at some of the spells that they've already sort of tested. Mystic item, so you get a legendary magic item that you can make or craft. And your signature spell, which is where you actually make a spell at the very end of your progression, including you get an epic boon. And we have covered just about everything. Have I made the wizard more overpowered? I am not too sure. I might have, but it certainly feels a little bit better than it was before. Frankly, I didn't really like the wizard the way it was, so yeah, it changes things up. Okay, all right, I am done. I'm out of time. I need to be in a meeting in about 8 minutes, and Wally will be waiting for me. So I'm going to end this poll. I'm going to thank all of you who've been hanging out with me. I know it's a long time. Sorry if I've been a little bit wishy-washy today. I usually have a better understanding of what I want to do with the class. Ultimately, I'm going to find this is going to happen a lot more to me because the wizard is we're now entering into the hard classes. Like the warlock is hard, the sorcerer is hard, the bard is really hard, the paladin is a giant mess. Like, good lord, those classes are going to be rough to deal with. I have no doubt that we're going to have a lot of trouble with them, and I'm going to have a lot of trouble with them. The gate spell, no, because the gate spell doesn't mean anything because you already have the other effect, the other thing, you've got another class feature that you get that allows you to basically, travel from one plane of existence or another planet whenever you like, and you get that earlier than level 17. So there's no point having that. So Portal Pilgrim sort of supersedes the necessity of having a permanent gate spell, or even a plane shift spell. So it would be no point to doing it. Yeah, that covers pretty much everything. I think we're done all right. I think we got it all done. Next Friday, I don't know what's happening next Friday. I haven't got anything planned, and I'm about to figure out what that plan is in a second. So I better go. So I want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's been here today, hanging out with me. Thank you everybody who's been watching and listening. Everybody who took part in the poll, I really do appreciate it. Are there things you would like to change about the wizard class for Dungeons & Dragons 5e? Yes, 53%. Interesting out of 13 votes. Just watching, 30%. No, 7%. Undecided, 7%. So, huge thank you to all of my patrons who support me so I can keep doing this. This will go up onto Patreon once I get a chance to actually turn it into a document. I'll try to do that this weekend. If I don't get to it, please remind me if you are a patron, and I'll get off my ass and get it done. Okay? But other than that, I want to say a big thank you to Pale Rider, who's been hanging out, providing lots of really good feedback. I do appreciate it. Carmen Graves, thank you very much for being here and commenting. Huge thank you to Samuel, who's been hanging out with us. Samuel Tears. Chris, thank you, Chris Broskett. And Negative Space has been with us for a while as well. He's probably already gone and doing other things, as you should. Can't hang out with me all the time. And Fred Huber, who put his apologies in that he couldn't make it for today. Fred, Dungeons and Chronics. And if I've missed anybody, I do apologize. Anyway, I need to get going. Thank you for being here. So wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, the night, or the wee early morning, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.